revenue bonds for the Titans, the questions, in my opinion, are about Super Bowls and PSLs and parking and other events that'll be held at the stadium. That's what we'll get into with Burke Nihill. He'll join us in the 4 o'clock hour in studio. So be excited about that. But I was thinking about something today. I feel like we have neglected the Tennessee Titans football team. From the standpoint that last week we had the Tennessee-Alabama game, so all of the hype leading up to the Tennessee-Bama game. Then we had the results from the Tennessee-Bama game this week and the fact that the Titans and Metro have finalized a deal on a new stadium, and then it's going to go off to the Metro Council. So we haven't really talked a whole lot about the Titans. So I'd like to start there. And I'd like to start with a general observation. I noticed this yesterday because we were talking about this off the air. But every time you watch a game, it's always like, be sure to watch Thursday night football this week when we've got this great matchup between, and then they say who the two teams are. And then Sunday night football, it's a great matchup. And so this week, here are the games. We get Thursday night, Saints and Cardinals. How do you feel about that?
Well, I am a Saints fan. So I'm excited as a Saints fan. But in terms of just general football fans and who like good football games, this ain't going to be one of them.
Stinks. Steelers and the Dolphins, Sunday night football. What do we think of that?
Ew.
Stinks. Bears and Patriots, Monday night football. What do we think of that?
Ew.
Stinks. It's awful. The best quarterback that we might get in those national games keyword here's might be Bailey Zappi. Like, he might be the best quarterback that we get on those primetime games. Even the 3:30 game that we're all going to get on Sunday, I was like, okay, Fox must have the doubleheader this week because CBS had that great Bills and Chiefs game, so there's probably got to be a great 3:30 Fox game, Aaron Rodgers versus the Dallas Cowboys, or, the traditional great Fox game. The Chiefs at the 49ers. That's the national late game on Sunday. The Chiefs at the 49ers are awful.
That's a fine game.
Mariota just torched them. Mariota? And, the only game, there's only one game this week in the NFL that features two winning teams. Do you know what that game is?
Two winning teams. No, I don't.
Nick, there's only one game in the NFL this week that features two winning teams. Do you know what that game is?
Offhand? No, I really don't.
It is the 3-2 Tennessee Titans hosting the 3-2-1 Indianapolis Colts. It is the only game this week that pits two winning teams against each other. That's how bad this week is. But the point I'm trying to make that I want to start off on today is this. This league stinks. And I would say it's the AFC. But it's not just the AFC. Rodgers' team stinks. Brady's team stinks. Outside of the Eagles, the Bills, the Cowboys, and the Chiefs. I'm not sure. If we want to throw the Jets and the Giants in there, I guess we can. But, seriously, the AFC, we spent all summer talking about all these competitors in the AFC, all these teams that could be good in the AFC this year. Is Denver any good?
No.
Is Indianapolis any good?
No.
Are the Raiders any good?
No.
Are the Chargers any good?
No.
Are the Patriots any good?
I probably have more faith for the Chargers than I do any of those other teams. The Patriots are fine, but it's not a team that is appointment watching, in my opinion.
Think about this. Again, Buffalo, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Philadelphia?
For sure.
Yes. And that Philadelphia thing, as they continue to win, will more and more so become a topic on this program. But yes. But everybody else, in all seriousness, I get so angry when I think about the Giants being 4-1 or whatever they are. I get so angry. And the reason I get angry is because I think the only reason the Giants are good is because they won that game here, in which the Titans totally screwed it up. And then I get angry thinking about if the Titans had just made a field goal or not done one of 800 things that ruined that Giants game, then the Titans would be sitting there at 4-1, and we'd be talking about how are the Titans on par with everybody else? I know they had a bad day at Buffalo, but are they on par with everybody else? But I think that's the point I'm trying to make here when discussing the Titans is I don't think the Titans are a great team. Last week, and I haven't checked it since the last Sunday's games, the Titans had the 30th ranked offense in the NFL. That's awful. Awful. The Titans have their problems. And yet, I really just don't think this is a very good league right now, and I think the Titans are right there. I don't think they're at the top. I don't think they're there with Buffalo. You know, Kansas City, I have my problems with. I know the game was close on Sunday, and so people say, well, you know, they're right there with the Bills, but I think Kansas City has taken a serious step backwards.
I wouldn't say they're close with the Bills, but I would say that they're an interesting team.
You know
they're
what?
absolutely an AFC contender.
You know what I thought about, too, when I was thinking about this entire weekend and all these teams that aren't very good? Think about all the flux on a lot of these teams. Green Bay, perfect example of flux. The number one seed in the AFC 2 years in a row, or NFC 2 years in a row. They've got maybe the best quarterback, the back-to-back reigning MVP, and yet they can't score a touchdown on the Jets. And it's because of all the flux. Aaron's in, Aaron's out. Devontae Adams is out, so now they got to get new receivers in here, and they got to learn with the new receivers, and they got to do a flux. Denver, new coach, don't know how to coach. Quarterback, doesn't know the offense, doesn't want to be a part of the offense, isn't playing his game, isn't apparently good anymore. All kinds of flux, new receivers. They traded away the tight end. Not good. The Raiders made the playoffs last year. The Raiders, flux, new coach, new offense, Devontae. On paper, it looks like it should work, but it doesn't because everything's changing around, and there's the teams that are good. The Dallas Cowboys didn't change much, and the Dallas Cowboys are good. The Buccaneers lose Rob Gronkowski, but I think we can all say the flux is Brady doesn't give a rat's ass anymore.
I think it's beyond losing Gronk.
Brady does not care anymore. He hates that team.
Which is so sad.
Did you see what he did on Friday and Saturday?
I don't know. What did he do?
So he went to Robert Kraft's wedding on Friday night, which Friday night in the NFL is like everybody finishes their work probably around 1 or 2 o'clock, and then they go home and they go out to dinner with their families, and they spend
time of the year
Friday,
for Robert Kraft to get married.
They spend time with their families on Friday, and they hit the stadium for a little bit or the facility on Saturday, and then if they fly, they fly. If not, they get ready for the game. Brady missed the walkthroughs on Saturday in Tampa because he went to Kraft's wedding, and so he met the team Sunday in Pittsburgh. He couldn't go from New York on Friday night, a wedding on Friday night. He can't get
to Pittsburgh on Saturday.
Pittsburgh and meet the team. Unbelievable.
You can easily drive from New York to Pittsburgh.
Brady hates that team. So there's all that flux there. I mean, there's Indianapolis has all this. Everybody that changed their quarterback or changed something big about themselves has a massive flux. And that's why those teams are really struggling. Philadelphia, same coach, same quarterback, same number one receiver, Devontae Smith, same number one tight end, same number one running back, same offensive line. The only thing they did was add A.J. Brown. But they didn't really change anything. And that's why I think Philadelphia started the year off fine. The Bengals changed the entire offensive line from last year. So they're working through that, and it takes them time. And the quarterback was, had the appendicitis and missed training. I guess it's my long-winded way of saying I think this league is awful. And I think the Titans are right there. And again, one game this week has 2 winning teams playing. And it is the 3-2 Titans who have probably underwhelmed a little bit this season. By our standards, 3-2 is fine as a record, but have probably underwhelmed a little bit. And the 3-2-1 Colts, who I am convinced are awful. That is the only game of winning teams. Just go over it right now. Just think about it. Cincinnati. They're not great this year. They're reigning AFC champs.
They're not a bad team.
The Rams are terrible this year.
Rams don't look good.
And they were in the Super Bowl. And so, again,
Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Unimpressive.
They do not give out trophies for what a team does in September. Because last year, if they did, the Arizona Cardinals would have some really nice hardware. Instead, they have nothing to show for their team. But the Titans are right there. And as much as the Titans do little things in some of these games that just set me freaking through the roof, it's a lot better than some of these other teams. The Chargers have a coach that cannot stop going for two. It's like a kleptomaniac of fourth down calls. I've never seen anything like it. The Broncos might be the most disappointing team of the last 15 years. Them and the 2019 Cleveland Browns. And I kind of expected the 2019 Cleveland Browns to stink. I knew the Broncos weren't going to be as good as they were hyped up because we had talked about this goofball they hired as coach, but I didn't think it'd be this bad. And it's bad. The Raiders are no good. The Colts aren't good. Jacksonville, who toyed with everybody about maybe being good for about 5 minutes, they're back to being Jacksonville. I mean, the Titans are right there. They're not with Buffalo. We can all agree on that. But they, in my opinion, are right there. And I think that's a good spot to be in. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We see your phones. We will get to them. 615-737-1025. By the way, everybody wanted to take shame me over the weekend for my Tennessee prediction.
Worthy of being take shamed.
Which I predicted they would be blown out. There's a Titans take that nobody's bringing up that I guess I'm volunteering that I actually feel worse about than I do about my prediction on Saturday with Tennessee and Alabama. And we'll get to that coming up next. And I do wonder if I should feel this way. Your thoughts, 615-737-1025. Stillman and Company right here, 102.5-106.3 The Game. Titans President and CEO Burke Nihill in studio with us in the 4 o'clock hour today. Stillman and Company were delivered by TriStar Moving.
Let's put the green flag in the air and turn them loose.
Nashville's home for NASCAR.
He's going to try to make a big move here.
It's brought to you by the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. We are your racing station.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Mike from Newton Ford South. At this time of year, I think back to when I was a kid and wonder why my parents always told me to never take candy from strangers, but would then on Halloween have me knock on strangers' doors and ask for it. Weird, right? You know, they always say strange things happen on Halloween. I guess that's true here too. Strangely enough, our cars keep disappearing, but that's probably due to our falling prices and excellent customer service. At Newton, we put customers first, we actually listen to your needs, and try to find the best and most affordable option for you. It must be working because these cars just keep disappearing. Don't let that scare you though. We have new ones on the lot every day. So no matter if you're in the market for a new car, looking to sell your car, or looking to service your car to keep it running at its peak, come on down to Newton and check out our spooky deals or visit us online at newtonfordsouth.com.
Attention sports fans. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. You need a sportsbook with integrity, longevity, and you need to know you're gonna get paid. You need a sportsbook that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horses, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. Call today at 1-800-79-BET-US. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, and they will walk you through setting up an account. Nobody in the industry gives better bonuses than BetUS. Join now, mention BetUS 2022, and you can get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody beats that. Head to BetUS.com and join today. That's BetUS, where the game begins.
Hey, it's Chad Withrow here to talk about Renters Warehouse. Renters Warehouse is in heavy demand right now in Nashville for 3 reasons. 1, the rental market is booming. 2, with Renters Warehouse professional landlords, you can rent your house worry-free, no paperwork, rent collections. And 3, with regulations changing so quickly, more people are learning that using an experienced property manager is far less stressful. Go to renterswarehouse.com to book your free home rental price analysis today, or call 615-398-9550. That's 615-398-9550. Renters Warehouse Nashville. You can't buy happiness, but you can rent it.
Bar Lines in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hey Nashville, it's Chef Phillip at Bar Lines at the Omni Hotel. Come try our new hot dog burn ends. Nathan's all beef hot dogs smoked over pecan wood, tossed in honey sriracha barbecue, topped with a cool crema and crisp spring onions. One of my favorites.
Attending an event downtown? Dine at Bar Lines in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Ryan, this Sunday will mark your 49th straight regular season start, which would put you one ahead of Steve McNair as the most consecutive starts by a quarterback in the Titans era of the franchise. Does that hold any significance to you?
Not something I think about. I mean, I want to be out there with my guys and compete and be reliable. So something I pride myself on is being able to show up week in and week out, but not something on the daily basis that I put significance in that number.
There you go. That was Ryan Tannehill today. I did not know this until I heard that question that he is going to pass Steve McNair for consecutive starts. Now, I will say this. Steve McNair was hurt a lot, so he missed a lot of games because it was either a bruised sternum or it was a hand or a foot, or it was almost, mythical how much Steve McNair played through injury as a Titan, but he missed games. But still, that's a pretty impressive feat for Ryan Tannehill. And the Titans have made the playoffs every year Ryan Tannehill has been the quarterback, which takes me to this. Everybody wanted to take shame me for saying that Tennessee was going to get blown out by Alabama. I mean, there were people that were like, what do you think now? How about that take? And everything else.
You deserve to be take-shamed.
And look, I knew it was going to happen. I told you at noon on Saturday, I'm like, if Tennessee wins this game, which is
you are going to get roasted.
3 hours before kickoff. I was like, yeah, if Tennessee wins this game, I'm going to just get crushed.
I did check your tweet about Alabama blowing out Tennessee, and the interaction pregame versus postgame was wildly drastically different.
What do you mean?
Like, looking at your tweet before the game, it had traction, but after the game, it was like thousands of quote tweets.
You know what? People want to talk.
You put your takes out there. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong, but you gotta drink the Kool-Aid when you're wrong.
I'm not upset about that. Like, I don't look at myself in the mirror and think, man, I got that one wrong. Boy, that was bad. Like, what was I thinking? How could I have thought that? I don't. There is one, though, that I am sitting there thinking to myself, my God. And it is after the Titans lost to the Bengals. I said, look, Titans cannot win a Super Bowl with Ryan Tannehill as the quarterback. And I have not moved off of that. I mean, I still believe that the Titans, even if the Titans were to make the playoffs, and I do think this AFC stinks. And so if the Titans make the playoffs, Buffalo, Kansas City, and either the Ravens or the Bengals are going to win their divisions, which means that the Titans are going to host the Chargers or the Jets or the Dolphins. They go win that game. Then they got to turn around and they probably have to go to Kansas City or they have to go to Buffalo. And that's going to be hard to win. So I just don't think that Ryan Tannehill, and if they win that game, then they have to go to the other place. And I just don't think Ryan Tannehill can win those. But I said that if they were going to move off of Tannehill, they had to get somebody better. So I wasn't interested in Baker Mayfield. But I did say, if Russell Wilson's out there, they should be interested in Russell Wilson. I did say that. We talked about it.
Yeah.
Because we were trying to read the tea leaves as to whether or not Russell was going to get traded. Because there was all this talk about, well, maybe Seattle will want to keep him, or, well, Russell, he said that it's not his choice if he stays there or whatever. Now, we talked a lot more about Rodgers. And we even talked a little bit about Brady. And could the Titans go down that road? And did they choose Tannehill over Brady? And did they all these things? Brady, I don't know if it's his divorce, which is none of my business. And I don't know if it's that Buccaneers team is freaking lousy. Because when I went to training camp and watched them practice for 2 days, I kept saying, now they were 2 days without him, but I kept saying that's a 4-win football team without Tom Brady. And honestly, they might be a 9-win football team with Tom Brady. which tells us that they're definitely a 4-win team without Tom Brady.
Well, it seems very obvious now that whatever it is, Tom Brady's just not obsessed with football anymore.
Nope. So Tampa, and if Brady's not obsessed with football, I don't want him. You know, when I was talking about, I want the good Brady. I want the Brady for 20 years. Rodgers. I don't know what the problem is there. I don't watch the Packers enough to know the problem. I don't think Rodgers knows the problem, but we were all in on the Aaron Rodgers train, and Aaron Rodgers is not playing very well for the Green Bay Packers right now. But that's not the one that really I feel bad about. We didn't spend a lot of time on Russell Wilson to the Titans.
We did talk about it, though.
We did spend time on Russell Wilson to the Titans. And had they made the trade for Russell Wilson, and I do wonder, like internally, how did they feel? Because I know that the Titans, I shouldn't say I know because I don't know. I assume that the Titans probably feel the same way about Tannehill that I do, which is they can win a lot of games with Tannehill as the quarterback. They should make the playoffs with Tannehill as the quarterback, and they should make the playoffs this year with Tannehill as the quarterback. But they're probably not going to win a Super Bowl with Tannehill as the quarterback. I'm not sure that they trade away A.J. Brown if they think they can win a Super Bowl with Tannehill as the quarterback. But Russell is so bad that had they made that trade, I do wonder if somebody had said to John, hey, in order to get Russell, it'll be a first, 2 firsts, and 2 seconds. And I'm going to guess that because you're trading Tannehill back and not trading Drew Lock back as part of that deal, that you probably wouldn't have had to throw in the tight end that Denver had to throw in because they are getting a starting quarterback in return in Tannehill. They're not going to have to start Geno Smith if they get Tannehill in return. 2 firsts and 2 seconds. And Tannehill for Russell Wilson. If you had come to me and you had said 2 firsts and 2 seconds for Tannehill and Russell Wilson, I would have said, hell yes. I would, going back to the offseason, I would have said, yes, do it.
2 firsts?
Oh, yeah. 2 for a starting franchise quarterback?
But I'm pretty sure when we were having these conversations, you said I would be interested in Russell Wilson, or at least maybe this was what I was thinking. You would want Russell Wilson because at that point, Russell Wilson seemed like a major upgrade over Ryan Tannehill. But I'm not giving out what Denver got for Russell Wilson.
2 first-round picks is what Laramie Tunsil went for. Like, that is not... 2 first-round picks is what Jamal Adams went for.
And that was grossly overpaying for Jamal Adams.
But I'm telling you, like, that's the market rate for not a quarterback. Like, we're talking about a quarterback. You know, a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers...
Wasn't it 3 first-round picks for Russell Wilson?
2 first-round picks. Noah Fant was a first-round pick in 2019. So it was 2 first-round picks, Noah Fant, and 2 second-round picks. And then Shelby Harris, who's a D tackle, and Drew Lock. But I would have done it. I would have done the 2 firsts and the 2 seconds and Tannehill for Russell Wilson. And then they would have had to give Russell Wilson the contract, and it would have made tons of sense. You know, Burke Nihill, when he comes in here, he doesn't get involved in the football stuff. At least I don't think he doesn't. Or at least I don't think he does. But that's one of those things where, you know, they're moving to a new stadium probably. They're going to have to sell PSLs. You'd love to have a franchise quarterback that you went out and got. See, you look at something like that if you're the team and you're like $250 million for Russell Wilson to play quarterback. You're going to win a lot of games. You're going to have playoff games in your building. You're going to sell PSLs.
He's a big
You're going to move
name.
into your new stadium. It's worth the money. It's worth the picks. Go. And that would have absolutely blown up in their face. Just like it's blowing up in Denver's face. I don't often agree with Nick Wright on Fox, but he said that he thinks that the Russell Wilson contract is the worst contract in all of pro sports right now. And I have a hard time disagreeing. I know some of these soccer guys get paid like $1 billion to go play soccer.
Yeah, I don't know about soccer contracts.
And I don't know who's good or who's bad. But, I mean, that Russell Wilson is horrible. He's horrible.
I thought the experiment in Denver would fail, not because of Russell Wilson, but because the lack of weapons around him. I thought, okay, Denver got themselves a quarterback, but what else do they have?
Well, they had Judy, and they had Javonte Williams, and they had Sutton.
But what has Jerry Judy done in the league?
I mean, these guys were not bad. Like, and I'm not saying they were good. Like, Sutton was good. They were not bad.
But I didn't think that the problem would be Russell Wilson. I thought it would be, okay, now you got to get him some weapons.
He sucks. I mean, he's terrible.
Missing open receivers, not even looking their way. I mean, he is the problem.
So I feel bad about that take. Because, again, I don't, predicting games, like, who freaking knows? It's like, okay, you predict a game. If you were to say to John Robinson, and he were to be honest with you, John, are you going to win on Sunday against the Colts? He'd be like, I hope so. Like, he hopes they win, but he doesn't know if they're going to win. But if they make a trade for a quarterback and they give him $250 million in a new contract like Russell Wilson, that is franchise altering. That there is a point of no return on that. Like, Nathaniel Hackett's getting fired, and he
should get fired.
But it's going to be George Payton, the general manager, who really gets the business here, because the Walmart family they didn't hire this guy, and the big move he makes is he hires this coach and he brings in this quarterback, and they can't get rid of the quarterback, and they don't have any picks to draft quarterbacks, so it's like, who are we going to blame? You fired. So you make that kind of mistake, and you're out. Even Robinson, who's got 6 winning seasons in a row. You make that kind of mistake, you're probably getting canned unless you drafted Tom Brady in the 6th round and you end up swapping, and then all of a sudden Brady takes you to the Super Bowl or something like that. Like, you're probably going to get fired. And so I feel bad about that because I definitely had that take. And I definitely believed that, the Titans can only get so far with Tannehill and he can't get them over the hump. And so go try to bring me somebody who can. And one of those somebodies was Russell Wilson. Now, again, we were more in on Rodgers than we were on anything else because we broke the story about Rodgers building a house here and him being open to playing for the Titans, which was confirmed by A.J. Hawk on the Pat McAfee show. But we absolutely, positively, when I say we, I mean me, I absolutely, positively was in on Russell Wilson if the Titans could get in on Russell Wilson. I didn't know if Russell was going to be traded. Obviously, he was. And my God, what a big mistake that would have made. And that's what I take seriously about this stuff. The picking games, like, okay, yeah, I think the Steelers are going to, win, whatever. The big decisions like that, I take seriously because it's like firing a coach. If I approach this with the idea of, well, I'll just go on one day and be like, fire the coach, and the next day say, don't fire the coach. Well, that's not fair because a general manager or an athletic director or a president or an owner can't fire the coach and then the next day change their mind. So when I say things like, hey, it's time to move on, I take it very seriously because I understand the seriousness of the people that have to do those jobs. And when I say go after Russell Wilson, and I would have traded 2 firsts and 2 seconds and given him the contract, well, I would have screwed the Titans. And so that's the one I feel bad about. The Tennessee-Alabama game, I don't feel bad about that. I am still disappointed in Nick Saban that Nick Saban would have a team that commits 17 penalties in a game that doesn't adjust and lets one guy score 5 touchdowns running by safeties every play. That I'm disappointed in Nick Saban. I'm not mad at me. The Russell Wilson take, that was a bad take. 615-737-1025. We'll get to your phones. 615-737-1025 today on the program here on Stillman & Company. Plus, there is one Vrabel thing. I maybe get it off my chest later. I'll decide if I want to get it off my chest now or not. But there is a Titan. I will say this. There is a Titan. I was stunned by this. There is a Titan on the trading block. So we'll get to that next. 615-737-1025. Hey, tune into the college football game of the week on 1025 The Game. Ole Miss, LSU, 2:30. How are we feeling about that one?
I'm nervous.
College football's game of the week is brought to you by Twin Peaks, home of the 29-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports, and Superbook Sports, voted the #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game, live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hi guys, it's Andrew. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is now available, and it isn't a pill? Today, Wednesday, October 19th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain that spark in the bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. Also, a gift that can produce rapid results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that, guys, trust me. And today only, we're offering 5 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is unprecedented, worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today. 615-576-5000.
Teron Davenport here for Superbook Sports. Can you beat Vegas this football season? Superbook Sports gives you the chance every week to go head-to-head with the best odds makers in Las Vegas. No fancy computer algorithms. No guys across the pond setting lines for American sports. Just the best team of odds makers in the business behind the counter at the Superbook in Las Vegas. Plus, Superbook features some of the best odds boosts and promo bets anywhere. So download the Superbook Sports app or visit superbook.com and start your battle against Vegas right now. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have, credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Matthias Ekholm. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Let's go back in camp. There was so much work. You and Hooper getting that chemistry, developing that, but the production hasn't exactly matched it. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I just, for whatever reason, it hasn't turned out that way so far. Doesn't mean it's not going to get going. I have a lot of faith in him, and obviously you mentioned we have a good connection and have put a lot of work into that connection. So I'm just waiting for that ball to start rolling in that direction, and then I believe it's going to take off from there.
There you go. That was Ryan Tannehill talking about his Austin Hooper connection. Don't get too excited, Ryan Tannehill, about working with Austin Hooper. Because ESPN has a story up, what they're hearing around the trade deadline. Jeremy Fowler wrote it. And there's a lot of different, claims about the Raiders are trying to get rid of guys, and the who is it? That's Christian McCaffrey could be on the but boy, they want a big haul for McCaffrey. I'm like, okay, anyways. But he's got a little nugget in here. 3 tight ends to watch. This is Jeremy Fowler, ESPN. Quote, Tennessee Titans tight end Austin Hooper is a name to keep an eye on, Fowler writes. He has been targeted 11 times in 5 games. Hooper is 27 and playing on a minimum salary of $1.12 million, with much of his $6 million deal paid out in a signing bonus, period. Now, I'm going to ask you this question.
Okay.
I don't think Jeremy Fowler's pulling Austin Hooper's name out of his ass.
Seems like kind of a random name.
So who do you think is telling Jeremy Fowler that Austin Hooper is, quote, a name to keep an eye on?
Well, who is Jeremy Fowler's guy? I mean, he's not a Vrabel guy.
I mean, normally we see those things come from Diana Rossini when it involves the Titans.
Is he a John Robinson guy? Is that just a, hey, everybody, hey, NFL, anyone in need of a tight end? The Titans could be selling. Bring us your best offer.
Is that what you think it is?
Probably.
If I was Steve Harvey on Family Feud, I'd say, show me Titans.
Austin Hooper?
I think it's Hooper's people.
Why?
I think Hooper's people. Think about the things that are mentioned in here. 1, he's been targeted 11 times in 5 games. You don't think Austin Hooper thought he was getting targeted more than 11 times in 5 games when he signed here? Of course he did.
I don't think anyone thought that Austin Hooper would only be targeted 11 times in 5 games.
Exactly.
We were talking about Austin Hooper, 550-yard season.
He wants the ball. Then the other nugget, the minimum salary of $1.12 million, because most of his deal was paid out in a signing bonus. Who has to eat the bonus money if it was given to him? The Titans. Who wouldn't? Other teams. This is Austin Hooper is, now I'm not going to say that he's asking for a trade, but I'm telling you, this is the soft ask for a trade. That's what this is. And I was stunned today that nobody asked Vrabel about this, because that's what this is. This is the soft ask for a trade. Hooper wants out because Hooper wants the ball more, because Hooper thinks it's ridiculous that Jeff Swain plays more than him. The Titans would have no reason to trade Austin Hooper, because even though they play Jeff Swain more than him, and they rather have Kevin Rader block than him, and they would love for Chig Okonkwo to pass him, at the same time, the Titans know they're one injury away from being down a tight end and needing Austin Hooper out there on the field more, and they know they can't just go get another tight end off the street that can come in here and be as good as Austin Hooper. And at the same time, they've already paid him the money because most of his deal was a signing bonus, as Jeremy Fowler points out. So the Titans are fine. The Titans are fine with, you're third right now or you're second right now, or, honestly, they would love for Okonkwo to pass him and be second. They would love it. But right now, you're, second specialty guy. Oh, Swaim's got a bad knee. You're in. Like, that's how the Titans would feel about it. They're not going to trade Austin Hooper. But Austin Hooper's sitting there thinking like, man, I've been targeted 11 times. He wants the ball. So clearly his people called Jeremy Fowler, and they would they would want to drum it up. And let me say this. If you're John Robinson and somebody calls and offers you something for Austin Hooper, wouldn't you want to do it? Because it's not like you're getting anything out of Austin Hooper right now.
But then what do you do with the depth piece there?
That's the point. Then you have to make the decision if you're Robinson. At that point in time, they have to make that decision. Because I'll tell you right now, depth piece is nice. We'll give you a second-round pick for Austin Hooper.
Okay.
Sold.
Yep, sold.
So put me in the position to where I have to decide, okay, do I want a 4th-round pick in next year's draft, or do I want to keep my second-ish tight end? And this is where Hooper's agent is trying to drum up some noise so that somebody would make an offer. And I don't think they will, and I think Austin Hooper's going to have to suck it up and either play better or sit on the bench or whatever. But I did find this nugget to be very interesting.
But I have heard a lot of speculation about Austin Hooper. Whether this is rooted in truth or simply just speculation, I don't know. I've heard a lot of chatter about Austin Hooper is lazy, Austin Hooper doesn't want to put in the work, and that's the reason why Austin Hooper hasn't been seeing as many targets as we probably would have expected. And I also go back to, was this the Raider game when he stopped 1 yard short of the sticks?
I think it was the Raider game. And
we thought, okay, well, was that the play call, or was that Austin Hooper just stopping 1 yard short of the sticks? Either way, it was stupid. So is Austin Hooper not lazy? Is he simply just unhappy here?
So what was told to me by somebody that's worked with Austin Hooper before is he was soft. And when I heard that when they signed him, I said it on the air that I had talked to a coach that worked with Austin Hooper who said he was soft. And I was like,
too smart for his own good.
I don't know if that's going to work with Vrabel, but again, I don't think they're going to trade him unless they get a good offer. What do we have in the text line? Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com.
One texter texts in about the Alabama versus Russell Wilson take and said, so the Alabama take isn't a bad take because the coach did bad, but it's a good take because the quarterback did bad.
I think it's different from this standpoint. That ultimately, sports talk radio, the way that what I view sports talk radio as is it is armchair GMing and armchair coaching. It is the backbone of sports talk radio, like it or not, is to second guess and first guess the coach and general manager. That's it. That's what it is. And so if I'm going to get mad at these guys or want to hold these guys accountable for making these major decisions, then if I'm saying you should make this decision and that decision could wreck the franchise, I think I have to take ownership for that.
And that's also a question of, is Russell Wilson the problem? Is Hackett the problem?
If I say a team's going to win a game, well, I'm telling you, I think they're all the problem, but I think Russell sucks. And I think Russell's a phony. Like,
He's
I don't think that guy, I think that team hates him. And that's a problem,
He's
too.
a very unlikable person.
And he's made himself more unlikable lately.
Unapproachable.
Yeah. But, so, again, like, I'm yelling and screaming during the offseason that the Titans should make a move that is going to wreck their franchise, that we now know would have wrecked their franchise. It's not like Russell would have come here and played better. Like, he would have still stunk, because right now he stinks. The Alabama thing was, Alabama didn't play with discipline. Nick Saban didn't adjust. Whether or not that was his fault, which he says it wasn't, but Gary Danielson says it was, about, Jalen Hyatt catching 5 touchdown passes, I couldn't believe that it happened. I hate that it happened. But that's not going to wreck the franchise. That's not changing anything. In fact, Alabama might still win the national championship this year. I doubt they will, but they might. But if the Titans had traded 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and given Russell Wilson and Tannehill, and given Russell Wilson a $250 million contract, which I would have been for, if they had done that, it would have wrecked the franchise. So I'm just taking ownership of it. That's it. One more. What do we have?
I don't know if this is responsible for me to say or not, but someone texted it in, so we'll go with it. One texter says, my dad is really close with the coordinator on the Titans, and last year I remember when they were shopping Wilson, apparently they offered Wilson for the Titans, and they wanted 2 first-round picks plus Kevin Byard and Ryan Tannehill.
Who is Wilson?
Russell Wilson.
Okay, all right. Say this again. This is really, we probably shouldn't be going with this, but my interest is piqued. What do we have?
My dad is really close with the coordinator on the Titans. And last year, I remember when they were shopping Russell Wilson, apparently they offered Wilson for the Titans, and they wanted 2 first-round picks plus Kevin Byard and Ryan Tannehill.
That was probably the starting point. But
it sounds believable.
Sure. They got.
If I'm the Seahawks, yeah.
They got close to it. But aren't there safeties? Don't they? Is Quadre Diggs a safety? He might be a corner. I can't remember. But they have Diggs and Jamal Adams. So I don't know what they're, they need a safety. But
why would you need Jamal Adams and Kevin Byard on your team? But
they're totally different, right? Like Byard's a ball-hawking interceptor, and Jamal Adams is a
linebacker.
Yeah, but still, look.
But that's a lot of investment in the safety position.
Gotta ask. I think they would have taken Tannehill. Pete Carroll's 70 years old. I think they would have taken Tannehill 2 firsts and 2 seconds. But so it was 2 firsts, Tannehill and Byard, according to that?
According to this unnamed texter and unnamed close friend with an unnamed coordinator.
So that represents the 2 second-round picks or whatever in Byard. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Chris Sanders will join us next. How does he feel about the Titans? How does he feel about their place with the rest of the league? How does he feel about the Colts game? We'll get to that next. Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 2:45.
Sanders for the touchdown, 48 yards.
Former NFL wide receiver Chris Sanders joins Stillman and Company to give his thoughts on all things Titans and NFL. Fueled by Harmon Energy, now hiring fuel drivers. Apply now at HarmonEnergy.com on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. After a cold start in the 30s once again, high temperatures this afternoon take us into the mid to upper 50s. Plenty of sunshine for today and a warming trend to the weekend, up near 80 degrees by Saturday.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
There are jewelry stores, and then there's Genesis Diamonds, the cutting-edge industry leader, the pioneer. It's no secret that jewelry stores across America watch what Genesis is doing. Genesis was the first to offer a free lifetime warranty, the first to offer a 110% diamond upgrade guarantee, the first to offer aggressive long-term zero-interest financing. And Genesis is always on the cutting edge in design and fashion. The styles other jewelers say are new and exciting were new and exciting for us 4 years ago. Genesis has the fashion-forward brands other stores aren't even allowed to carry. It's no wonder you see jewelers from other cities coming to Genesis to see what we're all about, and even buy their wives' jewelry from us. For selection, quality, service, warranties, and guarantees, Genesis leads. Others follow. So for diamonds, engagement rings, exclusive designer jewelry for any occasion, don't compromise. Come to the jeweler that sets the industry standards year after year. Genesis Diamonds and pre-owned Rolexes, Green Hills and Cool Springs. So many people here are getting real lasting joint pain relief from QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I would recommend QC to anybody. The work that QC Kinetics did paid off exponentially.
It brought me back to an effective age of almost in my 20s and 30s.
QC Kinetics uses cutting-edge regenerative medicine, natural biologics from your own body, precision treatments that can restore and repair damaged tissue in your aching joints, with no meds, no steroids, no drugs, and no downtime.
I got a very quick resolution to my pain.
It is a all-natural therapy. You're using you to fix you.
I got my life back. I got my smile back. And best of all, I got my laugh back.
Don't live with that pain anymore. And don't let them tell you surgery is your only option. Learn more about regenerative options from the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Call now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024.
Harmon Energy is now hiring drivers for their Nashville team. Harmon Energy is Tennessee's petroleum solution for major industry. Right now, they're offering competitive compensation. Fuel tank wagon drivers start at $26 an hour. Fuel transport drivers, $29 an hour. Plus, there's a $4,000 sign-on bonus for CDL drivers. Top quality benefits and a great place to work, Harmon Energy employees provide totally outrageous customer service. Come be an employee owner with the Harmon team. Apply now at HarmonEnergy.com.
Chase McCabe.
Competition in all positions.
Willie Donick.
You know what? I went on the radio and I tried.
And Derek Mason.
The man that sleeps on the floor never falls out to bed.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, the only game this week where two teams play each other with winning records. I cannot believe it. The 3-2 Titans, I don't have a problem with that. The 3-2-1 Colts, they are terrible. They play this week. Titans are 2.5-point favorites. Chris Sanders joins us now, former Titans receiver, fueled by Harmon Energy, now hiring fuel drivers. Visit HarmonEnergy.com. Chris.
Yes, sir.
Your thoughts. I want to start with this.
Okay.
I've watched a lot of football, since the Titans last played in the NFL.
True.
There's a lot of teams I don't think are very good.
Absolutely.
And I think the Titans are right on schedule right now at 3-2. What do you make of it?
I mean, they are. I mean, I know everybody gets a little upset because they haven't played that complete game. But here's the thing that I love about the Titans. They're finding ways to win. And I know you said a little earlier, I know you talked a little bit about the Colts. I mean, they're not a good team. I know Matt Ryan's struggling. Their defense is giving up a lot of plays. But they're still finding the ways to win. So I'm excited about what's going to happen in this game, and I think they're going to beat them. I just think that we're overall the better team.
So I do wonder this, which is when you look at the rest of the AFC right now, Buffalo's 5-1. We know Buffalo's better than the Titans.
True.
The Chiefs are 4-2. The Chargers are 4-2, and the Jets are 4-2 coming off their win at Lambeau Field. The Dolphins, Patriots, Ravens, and Bengals are all 3-3, which means that those teams are technically worse than the Titans at 3-3. Where do you think the Titans fit in there?
You know, I think the Titans are one of the better teams. I know the Bills beat the Titans, but if you look at the whole AFC, there's not a dominant team. I know the Bills are the dominant team, but you look at the Raiders, you got the Chiefs. The Chiefs are inconsistent. I know everybody talks about Mahomes, but the Titans are right there. I mean, if you look at last year, you know, everybody knew it was the Chiefs and the other teams, but at any given Sunday, at any given day, you know, anybody can beat anybody. Everybody talks about, you know, when the season started, the Jets were going to be horrible, and the Jets were going to be horrible, and all this. They're sitting at 4-2. They got a new attitude, and they're playing good football. I know it's early, but the thing about it is who's playing good football in November. So
we talked about this a little bit last week, but I just looked it up. The Titans, do you know where they rank right now in the NFL in offense?
29.
Caroline, would you like to venture a guess?
30.
You both are wrong.
31?
31st.
Oh, you
have the
lying.
They have the 31st ranked offense in the NFL.
Yeah. Wow.
How much of a problem is that? Are you concerned?
I'm not really concerned, and the reason why I'm not concerned is because you got the big dog in the backfield with 22. I know he takes a lot of the offense, and I know the passing game needs to get better, but when you have 22 sitting in the backfield, he always gives you a chance to win the ball game. So even though they're 31st, you know, even though they're basically almost last, you know, they're still sitting at the top of the AFC South. So even though it looks bad, they're still doing some good things.
Okay, with that, Chris Sanders is our guest here
sir.
on the program. With that, you think the Titans are going to win on Sunday against the Colts. Do you not think that Indianapolis and the Titans playing recently has an effect on that? And what did you take away from the first game that you think will matter this week? And what happened in the first game that you think doesn't matter?
You know, just looking at the whole overall picture, you know, I think Matt Ryan played a terrible game the first game. I know in the second half he played better. I think Matt Ryan's playing better. I think we're definitely going to have to keep putting pressure on him and actually making some plays. And if they can do that and rattle him, I think the Tennessee Titans are definitely going to win. I know all the scenarios of what happened last time, and I know it changed a little bit in the second game. But overall, I just think that the Titans are a better team. I mean, I know that, you know, a lot of people are getting upset about the play calling with Todd Downing and all that crazy stuff. But at the end of the day, the Titans are just the better team. I know that sounds cliche, and I know it sounds like coach talk, but if the Titans do what they need to do, play good on defense, don't give the ball away, and don't give what they're supposed to play on defense, the Tennessee Titans are going to blow them out by 15 to 20.
Okay, now I'm going to go around the room and ask this other side of it, which is, where do you think the Titans rank in total defense in the NFL?
I say 19.
Caroline?
I was going to say around 17.
28th.
Oh, my word.
So it sounds so bad.
Here's the question.
Yeah.
Right now, again, the only teams in the AFC that are technically better than the Titans, Buffalo, and then Kansas City, the Chargers, and the Jets, all have 4 wins. The Titans are 3-2. So the Titans could win this week and then be the same as those teams.
Right.
Those are the only teams that are better than them. And yet, they have the 31st offense in the league, bad, and the 28th defense in the league, bad. What do we make of it?
But you know what, Jared? I mean, that those are some great statistics. But you know, they're finding ways to win, and I'm not trying to compare it to the 1999 team. We didn't have the best offense in the league. We had a good defense, but you know, different guys are stepping up making plays. I mean, if you look at when they played against the Commanders, you know, they gave up a whole bunch of yards. Wentz threw for 369 and gave up a whole bunch of explosive plays. But at the end of the day, Jared, that one guy stepped up and made a play, which was David Long Jr. He made a play when it counted. I understand that they were moving the ball down the field, and you know, a lot of plays were given up. But the key thing is when you have that check in the win column, that's all that matters. I know statistics mean, you know, a little bit, but the most thing is getting that check mark in that win column. So
I apologize, Chris Sanders, for a take that I had in the offseason, which is after Tannehill threw those interceptions against the Bengals, and you defended him as president of the Boohoo Tannehill crew. I was saying, hey, if there's a better quarterback out there to go get, go get him. And I said I'd be willing to go get Russell Wilson. And I watch Russell Wilson play right now. That would have wrecked the franchise
100%.
if the Titans had made the trade for Russell Wilson like Denver made.
Mm-hmm.
What do you make of how bad he is? And what do you make of a lot of these teams that have changed quarterbacks and aren't very good?
Yeah, see, a lot of people want to get focused on the sexy name, and I understand it. Russell Wilson, I think he's a good quarterback. But when you start switching systems, then now you got to get to learn the players. You got to learn the offensive line. You got to learn protection. You got to know all these things. And when you switch that, and it's not familiar, you don't play with confidence. If you look at when he played in Seattle, look at the confidence that he played with. Look at the swag that he played with. Look at that the authority that he played with. Well, you look at when he played with the Denver Broncos, he looked like he's never played football before. I mean, it's the weirdest thing that I've seen. I mean, it looked like he's never read a coverage. It looked like he's never understand what a blitz is because he's still trying to figure out his guys. And I know people were screaming at the beginning of the year, get Russell Wilson and all that great stuff, but does he fit this system? He doesn't fit that Broncos system, and I don't think he fit this Titan system.
He's terrible. I mean, he's
not terrible, man. He's just not playing well.
Hey, hold on. We got that Shannon Sharp cut, Nick. I want Chris to hear that. Shannon Sharp. So Shannon Sharp is a Bronco Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
And a Pro Football Hall of Famer. He said on his show, they're celebrating the 25th anniversary of the 97 championship team this week against the Jets. So he's going to the game. Like, he's going to the Broncos and the Jets game. And here he is talking on TV about Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson is not seeing the field very well.
Yep.
He's playing even worse than he's seeing the field. $245 million, this is what it's gotten him. 5 touchdown passes in 6 games. He's 30th in completion percentage. The worst scoring offense in the NFL. 15 points a game. That defense is good enough to have won 5 of those ball games.
I'll buy that.
They're 4th in scoring defense, considering they're getting nothing. Absolutely nothing from their offense. And they're still giving up 16.5 points a game.
He's going to be on the field on Sunday. Russell's going to be running by. I mean, my goodness gracious. He stinks, Chris.
Yeah, but did you hear what he said? I mean, what he said is correctable. He said one thing that I wrote down. He said he's not seeing the field. Why did he see the field? When I say seeing the field, it's like, understand what the coverage is and everything that's going on and throwing interceptions. What's the difference between him being in Seattle and Denver?
He ran around.
You're right. He ran. Exactly. He ran around, but it's a confidence issue. I mean, watch his body language on the sidelines when he walks. Like when his offensive coordinator tries to talk to him or whoever tries to come up and talk to him, he's not paying attention because he's so focused on not making a mistake. So if he just gets a little bit of confidence, I think he can turn this thing around. I'm not lobbying for him. I know he's playing terrible, but it's just a confidence thing.
Chris Sanders, as always, joining us on the program. Chris, we will see you on Sunday.
Yes, sir. Hey, thanks for calling me back. I called you earlier, man.
I was in the middle of something, and I actually did notice that. I did not call Chris back. I didn't feel bad about that.
But guess what I want to say to you?
Go ahead. Oh.
You got.
Oh.
Good for Chris.
I was at the doctor, and Chris called, and I saw Chris. I didn't call him back.
You're too busy for Chris? Is that what you're saying?
I feel bad, but I won't be busy on Sunday for the pregame show, which will be live from Sonny's Patio Pub and Refuge, located at 1322 6th Avenue North in Germantown. That's Sonny's Patio Pub and Refuge. Join me, Chris, and Derek Mason, 9:30 to 11:30 prior to the Titans and the Colts. The pregame show is brought to you by TriStar Moving, Harmon Tractor and Equipment, Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, and Superbook Sports, and Ounce of Hope Cannabis Company. I do feel like a homer talking about how all these other teams, I think the Titans can compete with everybody except for Buffalo and maybe Kansas City. And then they have the 31st ranked offense and the 28th ranked defense. It makes me feel like a freaking bobo.
The defense is really, honestly, they're both shockers, but I did know that last week they were the 30th ranked offense, which was a surprise at the time.
I feel like a bobo. But that's how I feel.
Or does the NFL just suck?
True. 615-737-1025 is the phone. And Daniels is not turning the ball over. He's not just handing the ball away to the other team.
To Chris's point, they're doing what they need to do to win.
And these other quarterbacks are just giving it away like candy. Coming up next, I got to defend the Tennessee Volunteers. Now, that doesn't normally happen on this program, but I got to do it. So I will do it. Next, Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You love the game.
Tennessee touchdown! Middle Tennessee gets the score.
We live the game.
Just work on the little things every day.
They think the coaches are just coaches.
We are.
We got pass rushers.
Checkered flag in the air.
Awesome game 7.
What a stop made by UC Sarah.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, football fans. Dak Prescott here. And I'm here to tell you that with NFL Sunday Ticket only on DirecTV, you can watch your favorite team no matter where you live. Because NFL Sunday Ticket gives you every live out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. So switch to DirecTV and learn how to get the 2022 NFL Sunday Ticket season included at no extra cost. Call 1-800-DIRECTV.
With choice package and above, 24-month agreement required. Call for details.
Hey, it's Jared for FanDuel. Start NFL Week 7 off right with a no-sweat same-game parlay from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or if you already have an account. You'll get free bets back if your Thursday night same-game parlay does not hit. NFL same-game parlays are the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout. Like Kyler Murray, under passing yards, Alvin Kamara over rushing yards, and who knows what's going to happen with the Saints on offense. I'll take the under in that game. Build your own or choose from one of the popular SGPs pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play, you can bet the NFL on a Thursday night with a no-sweat same-game parlay. Just sign up with the promo code JGM if you don't already have an account. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the National Football League. 21 and over and present Tennessee. 3+ legs, minimum $1 bet required. Refund issues, non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after a seat. Max free bet $5. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Hey, it's Big Joe on the go. Look, I get it. Nobody likes being in a car accident, but when that happens, make it easy on yourself and call Apple Collision Centers so you don't have to stress. They're locally owned with 3 convenient locations in O'Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Apple Collision Centers managers combined for 60-plus years experience, and they only recommend original equipment parts on your vehicle. So, if you're in need of a repair today or down the road, just head over to Apple Collision Centers. Stan and his team will take great care of you. Online, applecollisioncenters.com.
Hey guys, Jeremy here, General Manager at Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars at 508 Church Street. Blend was voted Best Cigar Lounge in the world in 2017 and the Best Cigar Lounge in the country in 2020. It is the perfect spot to unwind after your workday or at nighttime. We are a trendy, upscale, luxurious bar experience. Visit Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars at 508 Church Street. Visit us online at blendbarcigar.com. We are luxury redefined.
Join 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Nashville Predators Energy Team this Thursday, October 20th at Jasper's on West End for Nashville Predators versus Columbus Blue Jackets. Enjoy Jasper's Preds game day specials and enter for a chance to win game tickets. Go Preds!
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Chase Elliott scores the win in the Ally 400 at the Nashville Superspeedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. Titans president and CEO Berg Nihill in studio next hour on the stadium deal. Very excited about that. So I have to defend the University of Tennessee's football program. It's me, the knight in shining armor, here to protect the UT football program.
Jared Stillman, notorious Tennessee apologist.
Now, I said on Friday that I thought Alabama was going to blow out Tennessee, but I did have a caveat in there. And the caveat was, if Tennessee wins, then everything's on the table. Then the Vols are back, and everything's on the table. The Heisman for Hendon Hooker is on the table. The college football playoff and a potential national championship is on the table. Josh Heupel, potential coach of the year, is on the table. and that Josh Heupel is now starting to dance his way into the elite coaches category in this country, it's all on the table. And I said yesterday that I believe that it is more likely than not that Tennessee will make the college football playoff. Now, again, they're going to need Clemson or Syracuse to lose a game. Or I should say Clemson and Syracuse to lose a game. Because even though Syracuse traditionally sucks at football, if they go undefeated and win the ACC and they beat Clemson, then there's a chance that Syracuse is going to be in the college football playoff.
Gross.
Lord, please don't let that happen. Then you got to have TCU lose a game.
Mm-hmm.
Got to have UCLA lose a game. Got to have all these things happen. But that normally those teams do lose games.
But that's also assuming that Tennessee will lose to Georgia.
And that's an assumption I'm making. But it's all factored in there. Because, there's a chance Tennessee doesn't lose to Georgia. And so add that into the chances that all these teams, and I think it's about 60% that Tennessee's going to make the college football playoff. All they have to do is win the rest of their games. If they lose to Georgia, Georgia wins out, they're in. Ohio State or Michigan, the winner of the Big Ten, undefeated, they're in. And then it's, okay, who else is undefeated? And if there's 2 spots open, usually it's the one-loss best SEC team, and we would assume that would be Tennessee by merit of their victory over Alabama. Now, there are things that could change, but again, just putting it at 60% that I think they made the playoff. Trevor Maddich was on the show yesterday, and I asked him about Tennessee making the playoff. And what he said, I thought, was so outrageous that I'm going to have to defend UT football. This is what Trevor said when I asked him about Tennessee making the playoff.
Well, clearly if they went out there. If they went out to the SEC championship game and lose that, they're probably there. If they win out but lose to Georgia in a tight game, they have a good chance of getting there. But why might they not get there if that happens? You've got a very good potential of 2 teams from the Big Ten getting there. Right now, Michigan is looking every bit like a national championship caliber team, and so is Ohio State. And whoever wins that game in their division, if that is the only loss for the losing team, then you're looking at potentially 2 teams from the Big Ten getting there. And that might be the thing that freezes out Tennessee if they don't get at least to the SEC championship game.
Holy hot take, Batman. Let's think about this.
I don't think that's that hot of a take.
I think it's a terrible take.
Why?
And this is where I'm going to defend Tennessee. Let's go off of Trevor's premise. Tennessee loses to Georgia.
Okay.
Wins out.
Yes.
So
11-1, and they most likely miss the SEC championship.
Georgia wins the SEC. So Georgia knocks off Alabama or Ole Miss or whomever in the SEC championship game. 13-0 Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1 or number 2 overall seed, depending upon Ohio State, how they want to rank them. Number 1 or number 2 seed in the playoff. Okay. Let's say Ohio State wins the Big Ten. But this is really going to be Michigan or Ohio State. But Trevor kept bringing up Michigan, so it sounds like he assumes that Michigan's going to lose to Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just say, okay, fine. So Ohio State, number 2. They beat Michigan at Ohio State, and they win the Big Ten, which they will because they'll beat, Northwestern or whoever it is that plays on Iowa. They'll beat their ass. And so now, okay, they're number 2. Now let's just throw in one of these undefeateds. Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3. UCLA loses, TCU loses. It's 1 loss Tennessee and 1 loss Michigan. I'm going to have the Tennessee Volunteers over here who will have wins against Pittsburgh. So they went out of conference on the road and beat a Power 5 team that is one of the top teams in the ACC. They will have a win at home over Kentucky, who will be ranked in the top 25. They will have a win on the road at LSU, who might be ranked in the top 25. They will have a win at home against Alabama. So it's likely that Tennessee will end with 3 top 25 wins, including at home against Alabama. And the name brand of Alabama, I think, does carry weight. Michigan only has the opportunity, if we take Ohio State out of it, Michigan only has the opportunity of winning 2 ranked games. They beat Penn State this past week, and Penn State's a good team. Now, they killed Penn State. And Illinois is a top 25 team. Other than that, the Michigan football schedule this year does not, in my opinion, have any game like at LSU on it. Here's what they have. Colorado State, terrible. Hawaii, terrible. Vanderbilt beat them. UConn, terrible. Maryland, Iowa, Indiana. Now, they did beat Penn State, which is a good win. They won that game at home. Michigan State, terrible. Rutgers, terrible. Nebraska, already fired their coach and terrible. Illinois, currently ranked 18th. Illinois might fall out of the top 25. So that might not even be a top 25 win. So you're going to tell me that Michigan, with one top 25 win, is going to get into the college football playoff over Tennessee, who has a win on the road at Pittsburgh.
This is the scenario where I see Michigan getting in over over Tennessee. Because in that scenario, if Michigan loses to Ohio State, they don't go to the Big Ten championship, then Tennessee absolutely would get the nod over Michigan because they have a much more impressive schedule. If Michigan beats Ohio State and then wins the Big Ten, and that's Ohio State's only loss, then I would see Ohio State and Michigan both getting in.
Okay, so we can talk about Ohio State in a second, but Trevor was using Michigan as the team. Michigan is not getting into the college football playoff if they lose to Ohio State.
But I'm saying if they beat Ohio State.
Right, I know. But again.
But then you're looking at a one-loss Ohio State team and a Big Ten champion Michigan team.
So what Trevor was talking about was Trevor said that the loser of the Ohio State-Michigan game, that the loser of that game would end up as the team that could keep Tennessee out of it. And so the only chance, now if you want to go with Ohio State, here's where Ohio State gets screwed. And this is why now Tennessee fans have to root for Kentucky and they have to root for Alabama. And they need Alabama to beat Ole Miss because they need that Alabama win to matter more. As much as you would love to laugh at Nick Saban and everybody there for them being terrible. But if you look at Ohio State's schedule, because we can do this too. They play all those same teams. The one difference is they played Notre Dame. Well, guess what? Notre Dame's not very good. And the fact that Notre Dame turned around and lost to Marshall, is Notre Dame even in the top 25 right now?
I don't think so.
So where is Ohio State's top 25 win if they don't win the Big Ten and they don't win the Michigan game? They've got Iowa, Notre Dame, Arkansas State, Toledo, Wisconsin, who's already fired their coach, Rutgers, and Michigan State. Now, they could get a win at Penn State, which would be a nice win. Wouldn't be the same as Alabama, Northwestern, Indiana, and Maryland. So one top 25 win at Penn State. I don't think that gets in over Tennessee because Tennessee's going to end up with 3 top 25 wins.
I don't think it would either. And I think if Tennessee does lose to Georgia, they miss out on the SEC championship. Tennessee easily has the best resume for a one-loss non-conference champion team.
So then they would not put in Michigan or Ohio State.
But I'm just saying that is the only way that I could see Michigan getting in over Tennessee, or a scenario in which Tennessee could get totally screwed, is if Michigan beats Ohio State and Ohio State still gets into the CFP, if they've been that dominant and that good all year long.
I don't see how you could put Ohio State with one top 25 win at Penn State. I don't see how you could put them in there. In fact, Michigan's resume, where we sit today, would actually look better if they were the team that lost to Ohio State, because Illinois is technically a top 25 team. Illinois is 18. So you could argue, well,
Michigan
they have
has a
2,
win over Penn State at home.
And they've got the Penn State, so they'd have 2, because they'd have Penn State and they'd have Illinois. Ohio State doesn't play Illinois. Ohio State plays Wisconsin. They've already beaten them. The problem is Wisconsin's no good. This year, normally Wisconsin's good. Normally Iowa's good. Normally Notre Dame's good. They're all bad. And so I could not see that team getting in over a one-loss Tennessee team that will have 3 top 25 wins. It will not make any sense. It will not make any sense unless there's one thing that happens, which I do want to cover next, which is the one thing that I could see and people are going to get super outraged about. We'll get to that next. 615-737-1025, though, if you want to weigh in. And I don't mind, Tennessee. I think the argument's better if Ole Miss beats Alabama, gets to the SEC championship game, loses to Georgia, and now Ole Miss has 1 loss, Tennessee has 1 loss, but Ole Miss got to the championship game. Now we've got some real fighting words.
There's a potential for several one-loss SEC teams.
But I do not think I do not think that Michigan and Ohio State at one loss as a non-division winner conference champion would get in over Tennessee. I don't think the resume would be good enough. 615-737-1025. Stillman & Company, 1025-1063 The Game. When the Preds have a weekday game this season, it's your chance to participate in Preds Pick to Click. Brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty and Superbook Sports. If you guess a Preds player that scores a goal in the game that night, you win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Preds home game. Your next chance to participate is tomorrow morning at 8:45 with Robbie and Rexroad. And let me just say this. If the Predators are going to play at 8:30 at night and these games are going to end at 11, don't lose with 2 minutes to go in the game. Like, I'm not, no. That was a bad loss last night. Stillman & Company, 1025-1063 The Game.
2, 3, 4, High school football is here. Join Big Joe Dubin every Friday night at 6 for the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz, presented by National Playmakers Academy.
Just a small sample of these great coaches in our area.
We'll go around the mid-state for scores and reports on all the big games.
If I'm a high school coach, I want the challenge.
The Game Blitz is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Attention sports fans, your favorite sportbook, BetUS.com, is back for their 28th year of NFL action with the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%. BetUS offer their members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including the NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. They've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and their dealers are waiting for you at the table. You need a sportbook with integrity and longevity. You need to know that you will get paid. You need a sportbook that offer everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horse racing, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. Call today at 1-800-79-BET-US. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, and they will walk you through setting up an account. Nobody in the industry gets better bonuses than BetUS. Join now, mention 1025, and you can get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody beats that. Head to BetUS.com and join today. That's BetUS, where the games begin.
Have you seen the selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches they now have at Genesis Diamonds? If not, prepare to be amazed.
If people really know the watch world, they come in and they're in shock. They're like, I cannot believe you have this selection here. They're able to see them, touch them, feel them.
Meet Genesis watch expert Charlie Rivers, who says over the past few years, Genesis buyers have scoured the world to build a collection of luxury pre-owned Rolexes, including all the hard-to-find models.
Daytonas, Pandas, Sky Dwellers, a huge selection of Submariners, Hulks, Kermits, anything that you could ever possibly want. We have every luxury pre-owned Rolex that we have here. We ensure that it's in pristine condition.
So come in today and find the timepiece of your dreams at Genesis. Or if you already own a Rolex and are looking to trade for a different model or even sell it, Genesis can help you get top dollar.
If you have a Rolex, definitely bring it in. I would love to see it and do a complimentary evaluation on it and see what we can do for you.
Genesis Diamonds, now with one of the largest selections of luxury pre-owned Rolexes in America. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Now is a fantastic time to sell in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. And no one has better intel than the Gary Ashton team. You may be wondering, what is this intel I keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel on where to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Everyone else is getting the same information and competing for the same properties. GaryAshton.com gives you the edge with the best real estate intel in Nashville. No one else even comes close. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate agent for the Preds. Get the confidence to sell your home and find your dream address without the stress. Call the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage today at 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
Winning this award is truly like winning the Super Bowl of car dealer awards for Mercedes-Benz.
Edwin Vickery, General Manager of Mercedes-Benz of Music City.
Culture, eat strategy for lunch. You have to hit on all cylinders to win this award. You can strategize all you want. You got to still have the right tools, and our tools are our people.
Live the dream with three-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best award winner, Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Go to mbofmc.com.
Never miss a moment of the show.
What is this? Check it out.
Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Why would a one-loss Michigan team that doesn't win their division, doesn't play in the Big Ten Championship, why would they be more likely to make it as one of the teams in there than a one-loss Tennessee that doesn't win its division and doesn't win its championship and loses to Georgia? Because would Michigan have a win on their schedule as good as Alabama?
It's because of how pretty they are. Tennessee's offense is gorgeous. It is beautiful. Tennessee's defense gets by on personality because it doesn't look good at all. The committee, if they're having to come with a Tennessee team and a Michigan team, say that didn't win their division and didn't win their conference, are going to compare how good these guys are.
The committee's just going to say, you know what? Michigan, a one-loss Michigan who lost to Ohio State, didn't win their division, didn't win their conference, didn't win anything other than they had, what we think maybe one or two top 25 victories. Michigan, they're just prettier than Tennessee. We're going to put them in the playoff. That was Trevor Maddich yesterday on this show. Now, as I said, Tennessee, if they lose to Georgia and no other games, I think that they're probably going to make it, and they definitely should make it over Ohio State or Michigan as a one-loss team. But how about this? I don't think Trevor is necessarily wrong that I could see Ohio State or Michigan in over Tennessee. But if they get in, the only reason that they would get in over Tennessee is because of brand prestige of Ohio State or Michigan football. That's the only reason. That's it. And people can argue all they want that Ohio State or Michigan, they could say, oh, no, Tennessee's got a power brand in college football, and Tennessee is, and you better believe Tennessee.
It's not Ohio State.
Michigan played Ohio State last year. They had an epic game. It was an upset that determined, seeding in the college football playoff, and it was a big deal. Just like Tennessee's win on Saturday was a big deal. That game had 3.5 million more viewers. The Ohio State-Michigan game last year. It was the highest-rated game of all of last year. This has been the highest-rated game of this year, but Ohio State-Michigan is the number one game in college football. Fox had the first choice of Big Ten games this year. They chose Ohio State, Michigan. ESPN had the second choice. They took Notre Dame, Ohio State. And we know how big of a draw Notre Dame is. But that is the only possible reason that Ohio State or Michigan, if they lose one game, which would be to the other team, would get in over Tennessee. In fact, how about this? According to ESPN, Ohio State's strength of schedule is 82. Michigan is 73. Tennessee is 12. Remaining strength of schedule, Ohio State is 21. Michigan is 17. Tennessee is 13. Those schedules are not comparable.
I'm shocked that Tennessee's was as low as 12.
Tennessee has a much better schedule. It is not even close. Again, if we're sitting there and we're saying, okay, Ohio State, Michigan, let's say Michigan loses. Mm-hmm. So the Michigan Wolverines have a strength of schedule it'll probably land somewhere in the 50s. Again, right now it's 76. Remaining strength of schedule is 14. Ohio State's going to be number 1 or number 2. So that's, right now they're number 1, or number 2, so it'll pump it up. But let's say they finish with the 50th strength of schedule. Tennessee is 12 right now. They have a remaining strength of schedule of 13, which means their strength of schedule is probably going to be 12th. We're sitting there, we're saying, okay, one loss. Tennessee has more impressive wins, including a win over Alabama, although Michigan does have a nice little win over Penn State. We got 12, and we got 50. Let's take 50.
It doesn't make sense.
It's not going to happen unless it comes down to power, brand, and prestige, which is fair because let's say TCU loses one game and they win the Big 12 championship.
They're not getting in.
and it becomes down between them or Michigan, and Michigan loses to Ohio State. And as we've learned with Alabama, it does not matter who you lose to. That, I think, is something that always gets talked about is, well, they lost to this team and they lost to, in the first ever college football playoff, Ohio State, Baylor, and TCU were all tied with one loss. And Baylor's only loss, I believe, was to TCU. And Ohio State lost to an awful Virginia team. And Ohio State still got in. Alabama has lost to, bad Texas A&M teams.
8-4 A&M last
so
year.
It doesn't matter who you lose.
But they won the SEC championship. You cannot leave out a one-loss SEC champion.
Well, but okay, in 2017 they lost to Auburn, who didn't win the SEC championship, and they still ended up as the fourth team in. But the point I'm making is, let's say TCU loses a game, and TCU wins the Big 12. So now I've got a Big 12 champion with one loss. TCU's strength of schedule is currently 80, which is not good, which means it's on par right there with Michigan at 73. Mm-hmm. But their remaining strength of schedule is 6, which means that TCU, factor in a Big 12 championship win and a Big 12 championship game, which Michigan won't play, would have a significantly better schedule than Michigan.
Why does the remaining strength of schedule matter?
Because it's going to affect your strength of schedule overall. So if you still have to play number 1 and number 2 and number 3, at the end of the year, your strength of schedule is going to be better than it is right now.
Okay, I mean, I hear you.
So, again, TCU's got the 6th best remaining strength of schedule. If TCU drops a game and then wins the Big 12 championship over what will probably be, Kansas again or a Texas or one of those kind of teams that's, semi-decent, if that happens, now all of a sudden we're talking about TCU versus Michigan. One-loss Michigan doesn't win their division, doesn't win their conference, average strength of schedule. TCU, one loss, wins their conference, better strength of schedule than Michigan. And I think Michigan gets in because of the Michigan brand. But the reality is the only way you could put Michigan or Ohio State, to Trevor Matich's point of Michigan or Ohio State, the only way I believe the committee could do that is if they take the brand of Ohio State over the brand of Tennessee. And what a slap in the face that would be.
Unless they use the argument of, 2 one-loss teams and Michigan or Ohio State, whichever team that was, had more dominant wins. Where they look at Tennessee and say, okay, you beat a pretty not great Florida team by 5. You barely beat Alabama. They do look into those things.
So you're telling me the only way that they could do this is if the committee relied on subjectivity.
I am not saying that this is the only way that they could do this. I am just saying if that is something that the committee does and they put a one-loss Michigan or a one-loss Ohio State team over a one-loss Tennessee team, that is something that they could use to justify it. Right. I'm not saying they're right.
Right. I mean, they're not going to come out and have a press conference and say, committee chair, how did you come up with Michigan over Tennessee when Tennessee had the 12th best strength of schedule and had 3 top 25 wins and beat number 4 and beat number 5 Alabama?
They have 4 top 25 wins.
I'm talking about at the end of the year. If they have 3.
They have 4 right now.
Who?
Pitt, Florida, LSU,
Is Pitt
Alabama.
a top 25 team right now?
Pitt was when they played them.
Well, they don't care about that. They in fact they use the back end. None of these, we're using the AP rankings right now. They don't even use those.
At the time that Tennessee played them, they had.
But they do not care about that. They have gone out of their way to say that we do not care about what you played when you played them. So it is, and the CFP does cook the books on the back end of the top 25 poll that they put out, the CFP poll. They cook the books to make their arguments for them, which I don't like. But, again, I go back to this, which is if they're sitting down there with the committee chair and they say to the committee chair, okay, you took Michigan, 1 loss, over Tennessee, 1 loss. Neither won their division, neither won their conference, but Tennessee has the 3 top 25 wins, and they have a road win at Pittsburgh, and they beat Alabama, whereas Michigan has a win at home over Penn State and a win on the road over number 18 Illinois, and that's it. And the strength of schedule is 12 compared to 50. How did you do it? They're going to say what you said, which is they were more dominant in their victories.
And you can only play
But
this
the
on
reality
your schedule.
is they're not going to say we're picking them because they have a better brand.
Oh, they would
But that's
never
what it
say
means.
that.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's
though.
what they're trying to
So what
deny
you're saying-
the accusations.
So what you're saying is that the only way, you're making my point for me, which is the only way that they can put Ohio State or Michigan in over Tennessee if they lose one game, which they would to the other team, would be purely on subjectivity. Because every single number of objectivity would favor Tennessee. That's the whole point, is if the committee decided to go full on subjectivity over Tennessee.
Yes.
And what a slap in the face that would be to Tennessee. That would be some tea. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. There is one SEC team that we don't ever talk about who I feel like deserves a little bit of love. We'll get to that next, and your phones on this. Caroline, though, wants to tell you about the Caesar Sportsbook app.
It is time for the Caesar Sportsbook Report. Now, before we get into all the fun stuff, all the odds, the spreads, the lines, remember that your first bet is on Caesars up to $1,250. They've got your back. So download the app and use the promo code RadioFull, one word, RadioFull, and then wager. And if you win, then go have fun with that money. Congratulations. But if not, don't worry about it, because you will get that stake back as a free bet. Now, we've got an ALCS boost at plus 2,200 odds. Really good return there. That the Yankees sweep the Astros in the ALCS 4-0. So if you are high on the Yankees, put some money on it. Do it with the Caesar Sportsbook app. Open to new users in Tennessee who are 21 or older. If qualifying bet loses, bet amount returned as a credit. Must use within 14 days. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Caesar Sportsbook. You bet, you get.
Want a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Preds game?
Yes.
Tune in to Robbie and Rex Road every weekday Preds game day at 8:45 for Preds Pick to Click. Guess a goal scorer and win.
I'll take Roman Yost.
Matt Duchesne. Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are referred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Preds Pick to Click.
We are 102.5 and 106.3. The Game.
Hi guys, it's Andrew. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is now available, and it isn't a pill? Today, Wednesday, October 19th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain that spark in the bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. Also, a gift that can produce rapid results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that, guys, trust me. And today only, we're offering 5 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is unprecedented, worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today. 615-576-5000.
Black Friday deals are here earlier than ever at Electronic Express. Come into our convenient locations for great deals on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, Whirlpool, Bose, Breville, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department: computers, appliances, 4K TVs, housewares, furniture, mattresses, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Great party.
Thanks. Can I get you something to drink?
I'd love a cocktail, but I don't want to trouble you.
No trouble at all. I have a Bartisan.
A Bartisan?
The Bartisan home cocktail maker. It's like a coffee maker for cocktails. It freshly mixes your favorite spirits with a cocktail capsule to create the perfect drink every time.
What's in the capsule?
All the premium juices, bitters, extracts, and mixers for the drink of your choice.
Wow. I'll have a margarita, please.
Coming right up. Your margarita.
This drink is perfection.
Get premium cocktails at the push of a button with the Bartisan cocktail maker. And with over 50 drinks to choose from, like Cosmos, Old Fashions, Martinis, and much more, everyone gets their favorite drink. And right now, buy a Bartisan and get your first 6 cocktails free when you go to Bartisan.com/drinks. Go to BARTESIAN.com/drinks for your free cocktails. That's Bartisan.com/drinks.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game, live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Ryan Johansson. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
If that's the case and Georgia plays Alabama for the championship, and if Alabama loses, how do you not take Tennessee as your second team since they beat Alabama?
Well, there's a couple scenarios here, and I one is that they all could beat each other. Okay, Tennessee beats Bama, Georgia beats Tennessee, and then Bama beats Georgia, and they're all with one loss, all three of them.
Well, Alabama would go because they won the conference. Who would they take with the other team? Who would they take with the other team?
Well, Georgia beat Tennessee, but Tennessee beat Alabama, okay? And not likely you get three of them in there. So this is, again, why you need more than four. But, that is a scenario. And by the way, Ole Miss is sitting there undefeated. We don't feel that they're as good as these teams, but, who knows? I mean, Lane Kiffin has proved that he can move the ball against anyone, and that'll be a great battle. We'll do that game, too, when Bama goes to Ole Miss to face Lane.
There you go. That was Gary Danielson, CBS, on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Mad Dog Unleashed. And I do feel like whenever we talk about all this college football playoff stuff, and I know people are excited about it, and like I said, Tennessee, when they won that game Saturday, now we can talk about it. I heard Willie today on the Midday Show. He was like, we should wait a couple of weeks before talking about this. I'm like, no. No, we are talking about this now. But nobody ever talks about Ole Miss. And Ole Miss has not lost a game. Mm-hmm. And Ole Miss, like Alabama, make of them what you will. I don't know how good they are or how good they're not. I do know this. Ole Miss doesn't have to play Georgia. And so Ole Miss could run through the West, and then they could they could beat Alabama, and they would have the marquee win Tennessee would have, and then they could get to the SEC championship game, and nobody talks about if Ole Miss and Georgia are undefeated, what does that do for Tennessee? So I do just want to note that we do leave Ole Miss out of this, and I'd be careful on that because I think they're certainly a player. 615-737-1025. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Titans President and CEO Burke Nyhill in studio next hour. What do we have?
One texter texts in and says, nobody cares about Ole Miss.
I mean, you can say that, but they're undefeated right now in the SEC, and so that has to count for something.
And I do think it's an interesting scenario. Let's say Ole Miss wins out, Georgia wins out. They both go to the SEC championship. I would say whoever loses that game is still probably getting into the college football playoff.
That would be now the college football playoff has never had to decide that specifically of an undefeated team loses a game in the conference championship, and then they go up against somebody from their own conference. A couple years ago, I believe Oregon was undefeated. I want to say this is when they had Justin Herbert as their quarterback. It was either Oregon was undefeated or Utah was undefeated, and if they had won, they would have gone to the playoff, but they got smoked, and so they didn't. And so that was one where they ended up not making it, but it's never been from the same conference.
And last year, it was a unique scenario in which Alabama had one loss going into the SEC championship. If Georgia would have beaten Alabama, Alabama would not have gotten in. Alabama did beat Georgia, so they both got in.
Well, it's like if Alabama runs the table and beats Georgia, Alabama's in the playoff.
Yes.
Even though
if Georgia wins out and loses to Alabama in the SEC championship, and it's kind of a repeat of what we saw last year, they both get in.
Joey is up next here on the playoff. Thank you for calling. What you got, Joey?
Yeah, no problem. I was just calling because I'm from Cincinnati. I just moved here, and I'm hoping that what Cincinnati did will hopefully pave the way for the situation that you're talking about, where you're saying, well, it'd be a big slap in the face to have Ohio State's brand surpass Tennessee's. And in my opinion, I think what Cincinnati did hopefully will make this not as a big thing, because I think the Tennessee is more popular than UC was.
So I don't think Cincinnati last year making the playoff, thank you for your call, Joey. I don't think Cincinnati last year has anything to do with any of this.
No, I think Cincinnati was undefeated. If Cincinnati had lost a game, no way they would have been considered for the college football playoff. But when you go undefeated, it's kind of hard to ignore, especially in a college football playoff atmosphere last year when you're looking at 2 one-loss teams that got in.
Well, and Cincinnati went to Notre Dame and beat them. Like, that was the thing that put Cincinnati over the top. That the previous, like the UCFs of the world didn't have, is to say, like, hey, we scheduled Notre Dame at Notre Dame, and we won, so put us in there. But what happened to Cincinnati last year has absolutely nothing to do with anything this year. What's next?
One texter texts in and says, please talk some sense into Joe Rexroad. He says that brand doesn't matter with the college football playoff.
Yeah, Joe's not telling you the truth, or Joe doesn't know the truth.
Well,
Joe is also telling you all that Jerry Stackhouse at Vanderbilt deserved a contract extension. I mean, let me say this. I owned the Russell Wilson take earlier today. The fact that I said, you know what, the Titans should go after Russell Wilson this offseason. And if the Titans had gone after Russell Wilson and offered what the Broncos offered and got Russell Wilson and signed Russell Wilson to a contract, it would have tanked the franchise. And I got to admit I was wrong. I'm not going to say that I was wrong about kicking Kevin Stallings' butt out the door at Vanderbilt, which I am still glad that I did. But I will be honest with all of you out there. Kevin Stallings was never this bad at Vanderbilt on a consistent basis. Like, at least he sniffed the tournament and would sometimes make the tournament. He'd never do anything in it, but sometimes he'd make the tournament. Vanderbilt, Jerry Stackhouse has been there for 3 years. They have stunk every single year. Getting to the NIT is not an accomplishment, and nobody with a brain thinks that this was a good move by Vanderbilt. Nobody understands it. The worst part about it is nobody in town is talking about it, which is another embarrassing thing. And yet this morning, Kaharski goes on the morning show. And, Robbie goes, how you doing, Paul? And Paul starts saying, well, Joe's probably doing great about Jerry Stackhouse. And Joe's like, all right, you want to go? You want to talk about this? And Joe starts defending the Jerry Stackhouse extension. Nobody with a brain is defending. Nobody who is not attached to Vanderbilt. The loserist, oh, goodness. Nobody is defending this move from Vanderbilt except Joe.
Well, Joe said it's because of what he inherited. But he has
been
been there.
Bull crap.
He's been at Vanderbilt long enough.
This is what
you
happened.
can use that excuse in year one.
This is what happened. Bryce Drew, who is a good coach, because unlike Jerry Stackhouse, he got Vanderbilt to the NCAA tournament. And unlike Jerry Stackhouse, after he left Vanderbilt in the last couple of years, he got Grand Canyon to the NCAA tournament. So obviously, Bryce Drew has a clue. Bryce Drew built his team around one player, Darius Garland, who is an all-star in the NBA right now. Darius Garland hurt his knee. He was out for the year. They lost every game after that. And he got fired because the new athletic director Vanderbilt had brought in, who was, the Brandon Staley or Nathaniel Hackett of athletic directors, who got fired 5 minutes after getting hired, went and hired his minor league basketball buddy, Jerry Stackhouse. That's what happened. Oh, yeah, Jerry Stackhouse inherited a mess from Bryce Drew. If by inherited a team built around Darius Garland and Darius Garland got hurt, that's what he means, sure. But, I have people that were involved in this who have told me that Bryce Drew had it lined up to reload with the transfers and everything else, and they fired him anyways because Malcolm Turner wanted to go get his buddy Jerry Stackhouse. Jerry Stackhouse has not won a single important game at Vanderbilt. He cannot coach. He has done nothing to improve this community as far as getting people to care about Vandy. You said it yesterday to me. The only thing he's ever done is block people on Twitter and waste 3 years of Scottie Pippen Jr.
Yep.
That's it. And Joe defended that. So I don't want to hear about what Joe thinks about the college football playoff. I didn't think I was going to go off on the Jerry Stackhouse thing.
That struck a chord.
That text got me going on the Jerry. I used to be a Vanderbilt fan. And last night, when I saw that they had extended the contract to Jerry Stackhouse, I said, I'm so glad I'm not a Vanderbilt fan anymore. That's how I felt last night.
I think it'd be incredibly frustrating.
That's how I felt last night. The commitment to stinking. And I've never seen anything like it. I got mad at the tweets that were connected to the tweet that announced the Jerry Stackhouse, where people in their athletic department were like, this is a great move. Coach earned it. By doing what? Oh, man, it gets me. It's just, why try? What? Everybody else tries. Vanderbilt's like, Jerry, here's 8 more years. Actually, here's secret amount of years because we don't have to tell anybody.
The kicker, too, is he still had 3 years left in his contract.
By
What's
the way,
point in extending?
By the way, how's that $300 million working out for you right now? You and Joe on your stadium that you guys were excited about last year.
Listen, your take was $300 million doesn't make a difference.
My take was get shovels in the ground and call me.
No, your take was it won't make a difference.
And I told you they were going to do
And
it.
my take is $300 million can make a difference. Now, if they're doing anything with that money, if you have $300 million and aren't doing anything with it, then no.
Bert Nihill will come in here in less than an hour. Ask him how far $300 million is going to get you.
Okay, I will.
It ain't going to get you very far.
It's not chump change.
Oh,
I mean, you're not going to build a new stadium with $300 million, but you can do something with $300 million.
The Titans cannot even renovate their stadium, which is a billion times better than Vandy Stadium.
That stadium's a crap hole that needs a whole lot of renovating.
And Vanderbilt's is
also a crap hole.
A worse crap hole. I mean, but not even close.
And also much bigger.
And so that would get them 1/8 of what they need, $300 million, 1/8.
It would get them a retractable. It would get them a retractable roof. That's what it would do.
On top of the $2 billion. Yeah. $300 million. What's that? Okay, so we just need a retractable roof at Vandy, and that's going to solve all their problems.
$300 million isn't nothing.
6157. You see any shovels go in the ground?
If you use $300 million,
615-737-1025 is our phone number on the program. Boy, that got me worked up on that Jerry Stackhouse thing. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting a texter to text about Joe and that get me all worked up. But Joe does think that the Jerry Stackhouse contract I got to stop talking about it. So there is one element of the stadium deal that I want to discuss. We'll do that. We'll get back into your phones next. 615-737-1025, Stillman & Company, 1025-1063 The Game. Let me tell everybody to join 1025 and 1063 The Game at Jasper's on West End tomorrow to watch the Predators take on Columbus at 6 o'clock. Enjoy Jasper's game day specials, including their signature smash burgers and $3 select beers. Watch the game and also enter for your chance to win tickets to an upcoming Predators home game. Stillman & Company, 1025, 1063 The Game.
185! Every team needs a quarterback. 185! That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown!
Tim. ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
How that team is built, I think there's a lot to like about them.
Every Tuesday at noon, Tim with Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Presented by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue and BetUS.com on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. After a cold start in the 30s once again, high temperatures this afternoon take us into the mid to upper 50s. Plenty of sunshine for today and a warming trend to the weekend, up near 80 degrees by Saturday.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Get your game on at Social Furniture with their fall specials. Entertain in style and make your social experience more comfortable and inviting. Everyone loves to socialize. That's why you need new furniture. Shop today at Social Furniture to get your home ready for the holidays with package deals on new living rooms, dining rooms, and bedroom sets with top brand names. Save big. Professional same-day delivery and installation. Finance interest-free. Huge selection in stock. Shop local. Shop social. Visit Social Furniture at 5412 Charlotte Avenue.
What's up, everyone? It's me, Michelle Knezovic, and I will be live at Party Foul in Cool Springs this Saturday for the SEC Game of the Week presented by BettingHero.com. Come watch the Ole Miss LSU game with me. And listen, a lot of other games will also be on the TVs. They've got so many TVs there. They got original Nashville hot chicken. And find out how you can place a risk-free bet on any game. The fun starts at 2:30. See you all there.
Paul Feinbaum here for the Southeast leader for cranes and equipment rental, CraneWorks. The CraneWorks team in Nashville, Birmingham, and Mobile is ready to make your next construction or maintenance project a big success. Give CraneWorks a call for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project. And don't forget, RentalWorks has a full line of rental equipment for jobs both big and small, and now offering qualified operators for all equipment, including aerial and earth-moving equipment. Call CraneWorks at 877-282-LIFT or visit them on the web at craneworks.com.
Life stresses can take a toll on your mind, body, and spirit, but there are simple, enjoyable remedies that may help aid these, and they can be delivered right to your doorstep. Hey, folks, Joe Rexrode here. So excited to be talking to you about the nation's #1 online shop for all things cannabis, OrderGreen.com. Their wide selection of THC and CBD products will ensure you find a fit for your needs with discreet same-day shipping nationwide. For me, for inflammation, for stress relief, it's a tremendous product. That's right, THC, CBD, right to your doorstep. Use promo code JOE20 for 20% off your first purchase at ordergreen.com.
Nashville, it's the 38th running of the All-American 400 at the legendary Fairgrounds Speedway. Don't miss this final huge racing event of the season, featuring the All-American 400 Super Late Model Race tri-sanctioned by the ARCA, the CRA Super Series, the Southern Super Series, and ARCA Midwest Tour, plus the Pro Late Models 100 Championship Race. Get your tickets today at NashvilleFairgroundsSpeedway.racing and experience short track racing's best. The Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway.racing for tickets.
312 Pizza Company is the official sponsor and location of Southeastern Carolines with Caroline Fenton.
Chase McCade.
You get a little fired up for that. Pads start popping.
Willie Donick.
And you're just thinking, this guy's unbelievable.
And Derek Mason.
Now I got to run a little bit faster so I don't get hit.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company here on the program. A Silly Underdog Picks presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket and Superbook Sports. Voted the #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. Silly Underdog Picks. Pick 3 football underdog teams you think will win this week for a chance to win great prizes. Play now at thegamenashville.com or the ESPN 1025 The Game app. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. Unless you have a thought, do you want to go to the phones?
To the phones.
Phones, what do we have?
One texter texts in and says, what are Ole Miss's chance of winning the West now that Alabama has lost?
Okay, you tell me.
Ole Miss needs to win out. That's it. They need to win out.
So how likely is Ole Miss to do? Because I watched the very end of their game against Kentucky. Other than that, I find Ole Miss to be incredibly boring. The Lane Kiffin thing doesn't do it for me. I know he does it for a lot of people. But, I'm not a Barstool guy, and I feel like Lane Kiffin, if you like Barstool,
very bro-y.
You like Lane Kiffin. I don't. I know they score a bunch of points. I know they've played a bunch of nobodies. What do we make of Ole Miss?
That's the thing.
Are they legitimately in this discussion? Should they be in this discussion?
I think the question also is, how good is Alabama? And also, how good is LSU? Ole Miss plays LSU this weekend at Tiger Stadium. This is the first time all season that Ole Miss has been an underdog per Vegas. So that's going to be an interesting game. I think Ole Miss wins this game. Then that makes the Ole Miss-Alabama game very interesting. And you could say, okay, well, if Ole Miss loses to Alabama, then Alabama and Ole Miss are both one-loss teams. Alabama would have the head-to-head edge, so Alabama would win the West. I don't know.
Where's the Ole Miss-Alabama game?
Oxford, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I do believe it's at Oxford. So that's the only way that Ole Miss could win the West is they would have to beat LSU, they would have to beat Texas A&M, which I think they can do. They would have to beat Alabama, but I think there's a lot of questions with Ole Miss. I think they probably have the best running back duo in the SEC, maybe in all of college football. I think that Ole Miss has a pretty solid defense, but their quarterback is a question mark. So I don't know, but also how good is Alabama?
That game is in Oxford. I'll say this. If I'm Tennessee, I'd rather play Ole Miss than have to. Let's say Tennessee gets to the SEC championship.
I'd much rather play Ole Miss and have to.
I don't want to play Alabama again. I don't want to play Alabama again in Atlanta. And if you play Alabama in Atlanta, it'll be a real neutral site game. But that will be because Tennessee fans will show up, but Alabama fans will too. What's next?
Another texter texts in and says, Ole Miss has beaten Troy, Central Arkansas, Georgia Tech, Tulsa, Kentucky, Vandy, and Auburn, one ranked team.
Yeah, look, Ole Miss is going to have to prove themselves down the stretch, but they're going to have the opportunity to do that.
If they beat Alabama, then that's way more impressive.
Well, if they beat Alabama and Kentucky, then that will be as good, probably, as what Michigan will do before they play Ohio State. Which means that they'll essentially have the same resume as Michigan going into the Ohio State game because they'll get Georgia, we would assume, in the SEC championship game. I'm not ready to rule Ole Miss in, but I'm not going to rule them out either. I said that we were overlooking Ole Miss or we don't talk enough about Ole Miss, but I'm kind of over-talking about Ole Miss.
I need to prove it to me, Ole Miss.
Yeah, let's let Ole Miss do a little bit more to get into the discussion, and then we could talk about Ole Miss a little bit more. What's next?
Mook texts in and says there's absolutely no way Nick Saban will let Alabama lose to Ole Miss. Hell hath no fury like an angry Nick Saban. Tell Jared to check the Vegas bets too and inform us.
I think Nick Saban hates this team. I've told you all. I mean, I am disappointed in Nick Saban. It hurt my heart. It hurt my heart to watch. It's one thing when Nick Saban gets beaten by a better team. It's one thing when Nick Saban gets, and I'm not, I said that, and it was like the Ryan Tannehill, Malik Willis mentor thing where that's not, like he didn't mean to offend anybody. I don't mean to offend the Tennessee fans when I say it's one thing to get beaten by a better team. But just follow me here. It's one thing when LSU in 2019 went into Tuscaloosa and just beat the crap out of Alabama. It's another thing when it's
really
Deshaun
beat the crap
Watson.
out of Alabama.
Oh, they were up. I want to say they were up by like 14 or something late, and Alabama scored a touchdown to make it look closer. But LSU was in control of that game the entire time. And Tennessee was not in control of this game the entire time. They were in control of it for about, a half. I'm trying to think like a half and a quarter. I would say
So
Tennessee
3/4.
was in control. No. A half and like a quarter of a half.
Okay.
So like a half of a half. I would say for 40 minutes, Tennessee was in control of that game. 20 minutes, I felt like Alabama was
So
kind
like
of bringing
almost
it back.
3/4.
Whatever. But more importantly, LSU controlled that game. And LSU is a better team. And, when they would lose when they got smoked by Clemson in the national championship game, that Clemson team, go look at the NFL. That was a better Clemson team. I'm fine with that. This, Alabama lost because they played undisciplined and they dropped the football and they missed a field goal and they couldn't get lined up and they didn't make an adjustment in the secondary. Like, that's Saban's baby in the secondary. And, like, he couldn't fix it. Like, he couldn't fit. Like, that is what bothers me. And I'm not saying that Tennessee wasn't the better team or isn't the better team. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying it wasn't as demonstrative. Alabama did so much harm to themselves on Saturday that, it was discipline stuff. It was strategic stuff. I told you that after Gary Danielson talked about how Tennessee was running those wide splits to get a safety matched up on Jalen Hyatt, that I bet you in the third quarter on Saturday, Josh Heupel was standing there on the sidelines with his play sheet.
Laughing.
Like, are you going to change? Are you just going to let me do this every time? That's Saban. Like, that's his baby. The defense, the secondary. So that's how I felt that way. So all the things that I feel about Alabama, I'm like, this Alabama team, it's almost disrespectful to compare them to these other Alabama teams because they, I took the cheese last week and that was the most un-Alabama game. 52 points, 17 turnovers, missed field goals, drop passes. That is the most un-Alabama, and this Alabama team is the most un-Alabama. And so Saban, I banked on that last week. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I can't do. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. There is one element of the Titans Stadium discussion that I feel like is either 100% the truth or, and I think it is the truth, it's 100% the truth, and it kind of ends the argument. And we'll get to that next. Stillman and Company right here, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You love the game.
The door's on the board.
Strike three, sounds win.
We live the game.
Going up against that defense, he can make some plays and take that next step.
We are.
We got pass rushers.
Checkered flag in the air.
Awesome game 7.
What a stop made by Houston Sarah.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, it's Eddie George. You know we all have crazy busy lives and don't take time to research car insurance, right? Well, you don't have to. Xander Insurance does all the work for you. Their system shops over 15 top companies to find you the best rates, and they keep shopping every year. Their clients have saved an average of $600. That's why I'm a client. Xander gives me more options. More options means more savings. Get free quotes at XanderInsurance.com or call 800-356-1780.
Jaspers is an official sponsor of your Nashville Predators and is the place to be for game day this season. Indulge in their game day specials, including their signature smash burger for only $10 and $3 domestic beers. Plus, grab some friends and fill up a bucket of 6 beers for just $25. Jaspers is located on West End and it has free parking. That's Jaspers, located at 1918 West End Avenue. Cheers, friends, and go Preds!
If you are experiencing persistent shoulder pain, that may be the result of overuse or an injury such as a rotator cuff tear or tendonitis, the world-class orthopedic team at Houston Clinic Orthopedics will give you the appropriate medical attention to prevent any additional damage to the shoulder. Chronic pain or a permanent injury may occur without proper treatment. Houston Clinic Orthopedics is conveniently located where you work and live. Visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online. When experience matters, trust Houston Clinic Orthopedics.
Finishing jobs on time, never being idle, and powerful equipment. Meade has the John Deere excavating equipment and the smart grade technology solutions for you and your business. Power your business with a new, used, or rented excavator and get the performance you expect and service you can rely on. Call us today for the equipment built as tough and reliable as you, or visit us at meadtractor.com. That's meadtractor.com.
Paid for by government.com.
Have you heard? A recent stash of 1881 Morgan silver dollar coins has been found. These gorgeous 1881S silver dollar coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck. Only a limited quantity of these Morgan silver dollar coins are available. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone interested in silver coins. Just call government at 1-800-386-7194 and you are guaranteed a mint condition 1881S Morgan silver dollar featuring the iconic S mint mark of the San Francisco Mint. But with limited quantity, you must call now. These 1881S silver coins are still in uncirculated condition. That is 140 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-386-7194. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-386-7194 now to secure your 1881S Morgan silver dollars before they sell out. That's 1-800-386-7194.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game,
Checker flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. Titans President and CEO Burke Nihill in studio with us later this hour on the new East Bank Development Stadium project, whatever the hell you want to call it. Burke Nihill will join us in studio. Now, when it comes to the things that we talked to the mayor yesterday about, taxes, schools, money, whatever, to me, those are city issues. When it comes to Burke, we'll be talking about PSLs, we'll be talking about parking, we'll be talking about events, we'll be talking about NFL issues. But I do have one takeaway that I want to get to, which, it's going to sound preachy. I don't want it to be preachy, but it's probably going to sound this way, which is, if we're being told the truth, and I feel like we are, if we're being told the truth and the Titans stadium lease requires the city of Nashville and its taxpayers to pay, according to Venue Solutions Group, $1.75 billion or $1.95 billion, the end, to refurbish Nissan Stadium, or we can pay $1.2 billion, which is the state and the city money combined, $1.2 billion, and the Titans will put in their own money to have an even better stadium. To me, it's pretty simple that just is common sense. And Mayor Cooper was on our show yesterday because the pushback that I have heard about the stadium from and I would call this people in the know Metro Council, is the idea that they haven't seen a term sheet. They don't know the specifics of the deal. You know, they don't know exactly how Venue Solutions Group got to 1.75 to 1.95 billion. And I asked him how he would feel if he was on the council, because he was very skeptical when he was a member of the council. But here's what Mayor Cooper said yesterday.
Would you be skeptical, though, if you were on the council and you didn't have a term sheet right now?
Well, if I was on the council, I would look into all the details, and then I would be for it. You know, because it frees us up of a $1 billion liability that exists right now. So this is a home run deal for the city financially, but you have to understand the whole deal in order to understand it. Now, for me personally, the fact that we're getting land back, in these other deals, we put land out.
Which you didn't like about the soccer
I
deal.
did not.
Yeah.
I did not like that. That any public land going to support a sports deal, I didn't like. So I tell people about this deal. If you are critical of sports deals, if you are critical of where the city has been in sports deals, this is the deal for you, because it redresses all the things that were kind of a concern in these other sports deals, and it fixes them. It frees the general taxpayer back to being just working for the city and not working for a team. Now, a generation ago, this made a lot of sense, and cities would have traded places with us in order to get the Titans here in the first place.
Okay, so I actually think he's probably right. So the way I look at this, take the general taxpayer stuff out of it. You know, the idea of the general taxpayer as opposed to sales tax generated that would pay for the state. Just forget about that for now, because even though I understand what he's saying, it does kind of feel, it's semantics basically, because it's still our tax money one way or another. But forget about that. Let's just, again, nuts and bolts here. In order to get the Titans in 1996, we had to give the Titans a sweet deal that promised that we would give them a first-class venue. We voted on that. NFL, yes, passed. So we voted on it. So we agreed to that lease that you heard Mayor Cooper talk about right there, that said at the time other cities would have been willing to do it. And again, now, because of that agreement that we made to get the Titans, it would cost us $1.75 billion to $1.95 billion, and we don't have a choice based upon the lease that we agreed to. Okay? So it's going to cost us $1.75 or $1.95 billion based upon the lease that we voted for in 1996. Or we could spend $1.2 billion or whatever, it's, you know, somewhere around that, $1.2 billion, and we can get a brand new, better stadium, and we can host better events. Well, I mean, doesn't that, like, that
seems like a no-brainer?
That makes sense to me. And so the only real question with this as to whether or not this is a good deal, and the mayor brings up things that I haven't even gotten to, which is the Titans are basically going to pay the money for the bonds that are still left on Nissan Stadium. You know, the people of Oakland are still paying for an addition to that crummy Coliseum that obviously the Raiders don't play in anymore. They're still paying the bonds off on that addition. The Titans are basically going to foot the bill to cover Nissan Stadium, you know, for everything else that's still owed or anything else that the team has done that the city owes the team. They're forgiving all of that as part of this, which, you know, and the land that the mayor talks about, forget about that for right now. But I do think that that's important. Again, if the options are renovate the stadium and pay $1.75 billion, the end, or get a new stadium and pay $1.2 billion without even getting into how they come up with this tax money or the $500 million from the state or revenue bonds versus general obligation bonds and, you know, general taxpayer versus total tax dollar. Before you get into any of that, doesn't it just make simple sense?
It does. So
unless somebody's lying to us, and again, you know, this thing from Venue Solutions Group, who the mayor brought in, I had somebody tell me that if you were, you know, and we don't do this on this show, but it could be very easy. If all you wanted was affirmation, we could find somebody that could come on and agree with our takes. And we could be like, see, this guy says that the Titans need a new tackle, you know, whatever. And we could get him to agree with us. And I think there's probably a fear that the mayor's office found somebody that would agree with them, and so they just put out this one-sheeter that says 175 to 195 billion. They want to know, and apparently they'll release this report, but they want to know where that money came from or how that estimate got to where it got. I kind of want to know that too. I think we're kind of entitled to that. But if we're not being lied to, then cooking it all down to the bottom is we can all pay, my property taxes will go up so that we can pay $1.75 billion or $1.95 billion to renovate Nissan Stadium. Or my property taxes don't go up, assuming that we're being told the truth, and we get a new stadium, and we get the Super Bowl, and we get the Final Four, and we get all these other things that come with it. And honestly, like, our stadium kind of sucks. So we'd be getting a new, nice stadium, and I'm for that. That only makes sense. Again, we don't have a choice. We agreed to this in 1996. We voted for it. It's not like some politician negotiated on our behalf with Bud Adams, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, wow, we're stuck with 1.75 to 1.95 billion, and we didn't even want it. No, we voted for it. So we voted for it. Now we could be held liable for what we voted for. Now we're going to get out of what we voted for, pay less, and get a better stadium. Makes sense to me?
Nashville residents even pay anything.
Nashville residents are going to go to the games, and that's where that sales tax is going to
But
come
I'm
from.
saying, whoever who lives in Davidson County who could care less about the Titans and doesn't go to the games, they're not going to be on the hook for a stadium tax.
Supposedly.
So, according to the information that we have.
The way that I look at it, I'm not even going there because, that is arguing semantics about, that is our tax money and it's not our, whatever. Again, that's $1.2 billion in, taxpayer money with state, local, $1.2 billion. That's a lot of money, but that's still better than 1.75 or 1.95. Berg Nihill, President, CEO of the Titans. He will join us in studio next, and we will get to the Titan issues about this stadium. What does it mean? What's coming? What has the NFL told us? What about PSLs? What about parking? What about all of that? He will join us coming up next, right here, Stillman & Company, delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The Sports Talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
Have they truly been tested yet?
I really want this to be a good game.
Michelle and Junie, every Saturday morning at 9. Presented by Superbook Sports and the Nashville Jam Company.
I think Junie and I are going to go hit breakfast/brunch there after the show.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Hutton for the Low T Center. Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Schedule your complete health assessment at Low T Center. They now offer the convenience of monitored self-injected home testosterone treatments for $155 a month cash pay or covered by most health insurance. If you don't live near a Low T Center or you just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy to get started. Only your first 2 visits are in person. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Hey football fans, Patrick Mahomes here, and I'm here to tell you that with NFL Sunday Ticket only on DirecTV, you can watch your favorite team no matter where you live. Because NFL Sunday Ticket gives you every live out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. So switch to DirecTV and learn how to get the 2022 NFL Sunday Ticket season included at no extra cost. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
With choice package and above, 24-month agreement required. Call for details.
This is a relationship, just like your relationship. Dating and getting married is awesome and fun, but having been married for 24 years, I can tell you it only gets better.
Meet Ward Herbert, manager at Genesis Diamonds, talking about the importance of having a long-term marriage with your spouse and your jeweler.
What's in the DNA here is relationship building. How can we be a part of your love story forever? It's your engagement ring, it's your wedding band, it's your anniversaries, it's gifts for your children, it's being a Genesis customer for life.
Genesis Diamonds, where it's never about making a sale, it's about making a hero. Cobra.
The greatest joy I get is helping you find your perfect ring, helping you find your perfect diamond, and having you walk out with a huge smile on your face because you know she's going to love it and it's going to be something that you can be proud of forever.
And Ward knows a thing or two about relationships. As a marriage counselor and an ordained minister, he can provide a little extra added value.
I did a wedding ceremony for one of our customers 2 months ago. He did not have a minister at the last minute, and I performed his wedding ceremony for him.
Genesis Diamonds, going above and beyond for every customer.
Now you may kiss the bride.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Signs First, Nashville's leading locally owned and operated sign and physical media company, has been supporting local community organizations for over 30 years. Signs First offers a 10% discount to all churches, nonprofits, and charities. Go to sfnash.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. You'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Results are guaranteed or your money back. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
It's on. It's happening. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way, I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, joined in studio now by Titans President and CEO Burke Nihill is here with us. Fun week, huh?
Fun week. Yes, sir.
So you announce on Monday that you and the mayor have come to an agreement. And it's weird because it's not a done deal because it still has to go through the Metro Council. But you and the mayor, I guess, have come to an agreement with the state of Tennessee on the outlines for a new stadium on the East Bank, the whole project. We talked to the mayor yesterday about it for almost an hour. And I was asking questions to him about taxes and all kinds of little things like that. And so now here's the Titans element of it. Then you do that on Monday. You turn around, you fly to New York for the league meetings up there in New York. I'm sure there's some juice in there that we might want to get into. But now you're here. And again, you're still talking about the stadium. First of all, congratulations on the deal with the stadium, because when we talked to Mayor Cooper, both on air and off air yesterday, I think he was almost grinning ear to ear as well as he can, about that deal, and really, how happy he is about the deal compared to the current lease and everything else with Nissan Stadium. Here's my question for you. How excited are you, not for you, but for the fans, about the concept that you're designing?
That's a great question. Let me say first, it's my nature to not be entirely excited yet because there is still work yet to do.
Sure, you're a lawyer.
Right? And huge milestone earlier this week in coming to an agreement with Mayor Cooper. We have been in conversations for, months and months and months and months. And the reason why it's taken so long is because we've set really high aspirations for the outcome we were looking for. We have believed that with enough thought, with enough creativity, with enough effort by enough smart people, that we could come up with a plan that would move out of a current lease that is really a bad lease for the taxpayers of Nashville, and it's covering an aging building.
It's a great lease for you. If you wanted to go to the people and you wanted to say, hey, we want a nice enough stadium to look like Hard Rock in Miami. Here's the bill. It's $1.95 billion. Go ahead and take it. You could.
That's true. It is a legal right under that document, but that's something that, given our mission as an organization, given Amy's Amy's style as a leader and as an NFL owner was never an acceptable outcome for us, and it wasn't for the city either. We just knew that would be putting the taxpayers of Nashville in a really bad spot. And this wasn't something that snuck up on us. This is this lease and this building have been on something of a collision course given the condition of the building and given the nature of the lease. And there had been, some kind of Band-Aids as we went. And what we've been trying to do now for a long time is take a step back and come up with one comprehensive, responsible solution, a sustainable solution that is a legitimate win-win-win across the board. And so we are just thrilled that we believe that we've landed on that outcome. It was really a high goal. To answer the question about my level of excitement, just absolutely thrilled for Nashville, for Titans fans, for fans of all manner of entertainment that can come through a stadium building like the one that we're talking about, for the community at large. And when I say the community at large, I mean those who'd be really, really excited about a Super Bowl coming through town and a Final Four coming through town, as well as those who want a building in the central part of town that is something of a community center, because that's how we see this building. We see a responsibility, a stewardship to have a building that would be appropriate for community gatherings. And so we think of this building differently than I think there's ever been an NFL building in the country, where you might have a Super Bowl on a Sunday and host a classroom teaching kids to code on a Wednesday in that building. It's been a high bar that we've set for the type of building and the way to get that building built. But we feel like we've arrived at an incredible outcome.
What was it like at the league meetings now that this news was kind of becoming more public, or that essentially the agreement had been made? Because you guys have kind of been inching there closer and closer. I was told a couple of weeks ago that once this came back from Venue Solutions Group, that then the plan that we had kind of heard about a little bit during the summer was probably going to be hatched. What was the NFL's reaction yesterday in New York when you were there and the news of your stadium had kind of come out into the public? And I'm sure there wasn't like an organized discussion about the Titan Stadium, but I'm sure there was a lot of discussing just in the process of around people with the NFL and other owners and everybody else that was there in New York.
No, from the commissioner to his executive staff, everyone is just thrilled with the progress. Nashville is an important market for the NFL. The 2019 NFL draft was an absolute game changer in terms of how the NFL sees this city. Every city in the NFL is a little bit different, but the NFL appreciates that this is a dynamic, this is an entertainment heavy city. It's one that shows up for live events, really gets enthusiastic and excited for their teams. And they have recognized for a long time that there was a stadium issue that needed to be resolved. It's a conversation they've had with us for a long time, asking us about what our plans were, and we have asked them for their patience while we worked through something that, while maybe wasn't a quick solution, was the right solution, was a sustainable and responsible long-term solution. And so that we, were able to share it with them yesterday and show them that, we are that much closer to making that a reality. There was definitely a sense of excitement at the league offices.
So Bert Nihill's with us, Titans president and CEO. 4 years ago, Mayor Cooper was Metro Council member at large. He came in studio, and we were arguing at the time about the soccer stadium. And Mayor Cooper, and he was not accusing the soccer team of this, but he was talking about the difference between public-private agreements and public-pirate agreements, as he was talking about at the time. I know Mayor Cooper. And I know that it could not have been easy negotiating this deal with Mayor Cooper because of kind of where I feel like he has stood on certain stadium issues in the past. And yet at the same time, he couldn't stop talking about how excited he is about this deal. How important was it for this process, this negotiation process, to be more collaborative than it was to be contentious?
Yeah, you landed on the right word there at the end, Jared. It wasn't easy, but it wasn't because of personalities. It was because of the details, right? It was this. We had a really complicated issue that we were trying to sort through, but we have believed from the very beginning. I mean, it's just not our nature in society anymore to believe that that there can be outcomes where there's not a winner and a loser, but that everyone actually is better off. Taking the status quo to where you're trying to get. We have believed that there was a legitimate win-win. It just was going to require a lot of work and a lot of research and a lot of collaboration to find that place. And Mayor Cooper could not have been more engaged. He could not have been more committed to protecting the taxpayers of Nashville, to finding an outcome that he was going to be proud of, that was going to put the Nashville taxpayers in a much, much better position. And he wanted to do it in a way that also, in the process, didn't sacrifice what is a community asset, which is the stadium building. That it's not just about NFL football; it's about all these other things that a venue like that can deliver to a community in concerts and Monster Jam and nonprofit events, in high school football and that sort of thing. He understood how important the stadium was, and so didn't want to just negotiate a good deal for the taxpayers, but to do it in a way that also resulted in a great outcome from a stadium perspective. And so it was not easy. You're right, but it wasn't a matter of personalities. It was a matter of details. And I'm really proud of the process. I'm really proud of the partnership that we've created here through this process, and again, proud of the outcome.
How do you feel about this advancing through the Metro Council? And I don't know, the $500 million with the state. I don't know, is there another process that has to go through as well? And how do you feel about that? The process that is still left to go before literally we're, cracking champagne bottles.
Yeah, there's work to do. The state approved their investment back in May, and there would be a bit of a process to make that a reality. In terms of Metro Council, and let's not forget about Sports Authority. Sports Authority is actually our landlord. They own the land, they own the building that we lease, and that will be the case with the new building as well. There's lots of details to work through. There's a lot of complexity to the details of this transaction and the background of it, and so the Metro Council and the Sports Authority need time to work through all that, and they need to ask questions, and we'll be there to answer those questions. In the case of Metro Council, in some ways they've already started that process.
Sure.
They set up an East Bank committee that started meeting in August, and what they were trying to do with this East Bank committee is take time to do the research and ask the questions that, being in the process, it had taken us years to get the information about what does our current lease say and what is the current condition of the building and on and on. And so they have been going through that process with an objective of getting all of that information and making it public so that the public can also have, complete transparency with where we are and where we're trying to go. And so they're already in that process. We'll continue to pick up that process now that we've actually have some deal terms that we can start sharing and going through. But we're talking about months ahead, not just a couple weeks.
So I do have specific stuff to get into, and I want to do that on the other side with you, Berg Nihill, President, CEO of the Titans. And it's kind of the uncomfortable stuff that, has to be addressed about, current season ticket holders, PSLs, parking, things like that. We will do that on the other side because those are the questions that we get asked. We get asked the questions about, where are people going to park? I have no idea. And it was funny because talking to the mayor about that kind of stuff yesterday, I felt like there were people that were, well, what about that? I'm like, that the mayor does not do. The mayor, it's money, it's committee, it's this. That is you. So we'll get to that next. Berg Nihill's with us, President, CEO of the Titans, right here, Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi, and this is Nashville.
Going to the front of the net, he scores. What a gorgeous move. Roman Yossi.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hi guys, it's Andrew. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is now available, and it isn't a pill? Today, Wednesday, October 19th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain that spark in the bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. Also, a gift that can produce rapid results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that, guys, trust me. And today only, we're offering 5 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is unprecedented, worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today. 615-576-5000.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have, credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval. One of the best things to happen here over the last year is the arrival of QC Kinetics. Willie Donick here. QC Kinetics is helping people in our area get real, lasting relief from their joint pain with the latest in regenerative medicine. No drugs, no downtime, no steroids, no surgery. In fact, QC Kinetics has tripled in size. Now with clinics in Nashville, Clarksville, and Murfreesboro, one near you. So if you have pain in your knees, hips, shoulder, back, whatever joint it is, don't think steroids and surgery are your only options. Regenerative medicine treatments at QC Kinetics use natural biologics, healing agents from your own body. It restores and repairs the damaged joint tissue. Pro athletes have been doing this for years, and now it's available to you and me. So many people here have done this and are raving about how they got their life back without that nagging daily pain. Appointments are available as soon as next week, and the consultation is free. So call QC Kinetics and learn how modern precision medicine can help you deal with the pain caused by arthritis or injury without drugs or surgery. QC Kinetics in Nashville, Clarksville, and Murfreesboro. 615-249-4024 for the consultation. That's 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game, live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Nashville, this is Sean Henry. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
You can press it. Titans president, CEO Bert Nihil is with us. That red button, that's the on button right there. You're learning.
I'm learning.
You're doing a good job. So the stadium deal getting done in the process towards the finish line. You and the mayor had a press conference yesterday or Monday. Announced it to everybody. The league went out there, probably gave you a bunch of pats on the back in New York. Now the real stuff. PSLs. Obviously, it's going to be a part of this process. We did hear what you said on Monday. That is, if somebody paid $2,000 for a PSL in 1998, they will have a $2,000 credit that will go their way towards the purchase of a new PSL. What is that process going to be like?
Yeah, still a lot of details to work through, but you've hit on the core. One small clarification is that it's the value of the PSL the year in which they acquired it. And we only say that because there are people who acquired PSLs by all sorts of different means, perhaps paid less than what we were selling PSLs for during that year. And the only record we would have is the value of the PSL during that year. But it has been critically important to Amy from the very beginning that in any transition over to a new building that our current season ticket members feel respected, that they feel honored, because they deserve it. they're loyal. In many cases, PSL holders literally bought their PSLs as part of getting the team from Houston to Nashville.
Sure.
And so, Amy, in every scenario, as we've tried to work through how to make this transition, has just insisted on the generous option. And so the credit system that we have in mind at the top line is to give a credit for the value of the PSL the year in which a PSL holder acquired it.
Because then by that, they wouldn't feel like they're paying for it twice.
Correct.
That they're, okay. Now, here's another question, which is, and I don't know what the stadium will look like from this design, but right now there's 3 levels, right? There's the lower level, the club level, and the third level. And then after that, different sections are worth different things. But generally speaking, what do we expect PSL prices to be in this new stadium?
Way too early. We literally haven't done the research yet. The reality is, you just hit on it. Our current building is basic by NFL standards. It's got a lower bowl and upper bowl, clubs and suites. Those are the 4 seating products. This new building will be a paradigm shift. We go from 4 experiences to 15, 20 different experiences, and it's on a range where some of them will be premium because we have fans and customers who want a premium experience. And so a PSL will be expensive for a premium experience compared to the other end of the spectrum, where we are going to try to have entry points that are similar to Nissan Stadium prices for PSLs. We have not figured that out yet, but that's the objective. We want to have a range of options in terms of experiences, and so there will be a range in terms of ultimately, what it costs to purchase a PSL for that range. But we are really, really focused on the range in that more affordable part of the building. To look at it this way, in terms of those experiences, it is a paradigm shift. I like the phrase, the light bulb wasn't created by the continuous improvement of the candle, right?
Sure.
And if our current building is a candle, the next building is a light bulb. And so a premium experience, may include, a high-end club or something that you think of as a luxury suite today. On the other end of the spectrum, what we are hearing from our fans and what you hear from other stadiums who've done a really, really good job of this is there's fans who want a social experience, right? You want a game-long tailgate. Families don't want to just park with their family the whole time. They want a place where their kids can move around a little bit. And so we really have a lot of thinking left to do about what are the right experiences, what's the right seating mix, and then from there, in terms of figuring out ultimately what a PSL program looks like, we'll have to continue to do that research. So the honest to goodness truth is we do not know the answer yet.
Okay, so for all these different, because again, it's basic, 1, 2, 3. You talked about how there's going to be priority for current PSL holders. So if I'm a current PSL holder and I want to buy a PSL in the new stadium at the super duper club, will I be able to do that with that priority you're talking about? Or will it go to the lower level first and then the club level, or the club level first? And how will that be? Because priority is great, but what kind of priority will different current PSL holders have?
Yeah, a lot of details to work through. Do not have a solid answer for you, other than I think it's pretty safe to say that a current PSL holder would not be locked into just kind of translating their current experience. So if you're currently in the upper bowl of Nissan Stadium and you'd prefer to move to a different experience in a new building, I think it's pretty safe to say that option will be available to you.
What about parking? We get asked this a lot. Titans President CEO Burke Nihill in studio with us. We get asked this a lot about if you're building a stadium in the parking lot of the current stadium, then where the hell are people going to park? And I honestly think it's a pretty fair question, and I think about it for myself. So what is the parking plan while the stadium is being built, and what's the parking plan after the stadium's built?
So I would, again, ask you to have a bit of a paradigm shift. I think the question that you're asking is, how do I get to the game?
Sure.
Right? Because
today, but I like how I get to the game now. I literally just roll right in, park, walk right in, get in my car, go out. It's probably one of the easiest experiences I have in all of sports is being able to egress and ingress into the Titan Stadium.
I'm grateful you've had that experience.
Not everybody else has, but I've gone a lot, so I know. We
try really, really hard to deliver an incredible experience for every fan from driveway to driveway. But there are challenges to 7,400 cars coming into the same parking area about the same time and leaving at about the same time. And so we will have to be flexible both during construction and beyond. We've started the process in depth. There are literally tens of thousands of parking spaces, public parking spaces, within about a mile radius of the stadium, and we will reach out to a lot of those parking areas and work on shuttles to get people to and from to make up for some of that lost parking. We're really, really sensitive to being sure that any solution doesn't have inconvenience or imposition on our neighbors in East Nashville and other areas around us. And there is absolutely a plan in play, and we honestly believe that it has the potential and likelihood, in fact, to be a more pleasant experience where people can get to and from the game more easily. In the long run, what's really, really exciting is the mayor's plan is to have a transit center, literally kitty corner, from our building. So again, back to the question of how do you get to the game, there's a future where someone can get on a bus rapid transit in Antioch and get dropped off at the front door. That's the sort of thing that is the right experience, because you're not having 7,400 cars coming through the same couple spots to get into the parking lot about the same time and leaving at the same time. It's spreading out and actually has a better experience. Beyond that, we're also in a future state. There's going to be reasons to get to a game earlier and to stay at a game later. The building will be much more dynamic in terms of things to do inside the building.
Sure.
There's reason to get there earlier. And so we believe that the ingress-egress experience, both from a parking perspective or a transit perspective, and getting through gates and all of that, everything will be improved in a new building.
Because right now it's just like, final kneel down. All right, everybody go home. Whereas you're wanting to do something where it's kind of more of a party atmosphere before somebody shows up for the game and before they leave to go home.
Yeah, I'll change your word party to festival, but yes,
there you go, festival.
It's look, it's your experience the experience that you want, I think, will be available within that stadium and eventually probably around the stadium too. A big part of this transaction is that we're giving back this land, this very valuable land, to the city, and the city has really ambitious dreams about what to do with this land, and it's wonderful. And people have asked if it's going to be like LA Live, and I think the answer is no, because LA Live is so focused on the
and
building.
This is outside of SoFi?
Yeah, LA Live is outside of Staples Center.
Okay.
Thanks for the clarification. Yeah. But in LA, and it is a party atmosphere, as you say, and it's about this kind of entertainment district. The vision that the city has is that there's going to be parks. There's going to be a river walk, and so we will have experiences inside the stadium where somebody may want to stick around and watch the late game because it's a fun place to hang out. But there will be things to do around the stadium where you don't necessarily want to take off right away because it's going to be this incredible area of town with lots of things to do.
I do not envy you for having to figure out that shuttle situation for those 3-4 years where those parking lots are basically gone. I think that's going to be a tough process. I do wonder, have you guys done some advanced work on that to see what that's going to be like?
Absolutely.
Because I think there's a lot of fan anxiety about where am I going to park to watch the Titans in the process.
We will communicate. We will over-communicate.
Or maybe that's just my own anxiety.
No, we're going to take care of your anxiety, Jared, I promise. So we will over-communicate a very specific plan when we need it, long before we need it, so that we can answer those questions. We know we have to answer those questions. Just to give you an example of a shuttle program that's been really successful, Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas was recently ranked as the #1 fan experience by NFL fans. Mm-hmm. And one of the top reasons that fans expressed was this really convenient drop-off at the front door shuttle experience. So there is an elegance to spreading out ingress, egress, and not having people having to fight through traffic to get back to the highway. And we've had the conversations. We know the areas where there's parking, and we will have a great plan that we believe will be a great experience. We're making that commitment to fans.
Okay, so I talked a little bit too much. Can I keep you for one more?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I got the good stuff to talk about now. The NFL, what's coming here, what this stadium means. Let's do that. Berg Nihill, President and CEO of the Titans. He's with us, Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Thank you.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Another freeze warning in effect as we head into the overnight. Temperatures will drop back to around 34 degrees in Nashville. Looking at highs to top off in the 60s for Thursday with mainly sunny skies. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Hey, it's Eddie George. You know we all have crazy busy lives and don't take time to research car insurance, right? Well, you don't have to. Xander Insurance does all the work for you. Their system shops over 15 top companies to find you the best rates, and they keep shopping every year. Their clients have saved an average of $600. That's why I'm a client. Xander gives me more options. More options means more savings. Get free quotes at XanderInsurance.com or call 800-356-1780.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down and maybe haven't been getting the exercise you need? If you want to get back to the man you used to be but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns to problems with muscle gain, bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction, and if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've treated thousands of men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments extra, results vary.
Hey, it's Hutton. Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price and receive up to $1,500 off, or get 18 months of no payments, so the first payment is not until spring of 2024. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Schedule your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com.
Hey, it's Jared. Are you looking to move? If so, do yourself a favor and reach out to my friends at TriStar Moving. You can be assured your move will be stress-free because they've got new utility vans to help with pack jobs to separate your high-value or fragile items from the bulk of your furniture, and their movers are carefully picked and highly trained. No one in the game is doing this. TriStar Moving is raising the standard in the moving industry. When you're ready to move, give them a call. TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, or online at nationalmoving.org/radio, and tell them Jared Stillman referred you for 10% off. That's TriStar Moving.
When you download the Home Depot app, taking on big or small projects starts with a tap. It's your pocket-sized toolbox for getting more done. Image search helps you find what you need with a snap. Store mode pinpoints exactly where to go to get what you want while you're at our store. Or just tap to arrange for easy curbside pickup, all from the palm of your hand. It's the app that's made for doing. The Home Depot app. How doers get more done.
Informative.
They played a lot of power play time together back in the day.
Insightful.
It's a great addition to this team.
And just three guys being dudes.
On the sideline in shorts and a t-shirt.
Hanging out, watching the game.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2.
No such thing as bad press.
On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Titans President and CEO Berg Nihill in studio with us here on Stillman and Company. The good stuff about the new stadium project. Let's just imagine that it passes the Metro Council and the state legislature, and on you go, shovels in ground. How early do you need to get started in order to be playing in the preseason in August of 2026?
Probably next year at this time. We are still locked in on a goal of opening for 2026, and there's a calendar that makes it work. And so, we've got to focus on actually making this a reality first, obviously, right? And then we've got a team ready to go. We have an internal construction manager who's got calendars that he updates every couple weeks and shows me kind of where we are and how the building could open in 2026. And so that's absolutely the goal. The thing that I would just say is that while that's the goal, we're not going to build the fastest building. We're going to build the right building, right? And so if that means that the design process requires more time to get it right, or if the construction process requires more time to get it right, or to frankly avoid just a rushed construction process that has budget implications, if it ends up being 27, that's a consequence we're willing to live with. This is not something that's being built for one single season. This is something that's being built for generations.
Burke, I want the Super Bowl. And I know that they can't promise us a Super Bowl because there's a bid process. But I do hope that they're winking us a Super Bowl with this process. How do you feel about the Super Bowl, other NFL events? We've already had the draft, but perhaps maybe even the combine or other things that could come here. Where do you see the collaboration with the NFL with this building going?
You gave the caveat. The NFL won't make a commitment in advance. There's a long process. My answer is I have absolutely no doubt that those events are coming. This is a town that impressed the heck out of the NFL during the NFL draft. Those events are not just about the event themselves. Those events are about the week leading up to it, and there's always there's business meetings that bring a lot of people to town. There are free community events that are all throughout a city, and there is not a city in the country that does that better. It's a compact downtown where people can be taking rideshare to a hotel and walking everywhere, including the game. And there are not many cities in the country where that's true. And certainly none that do it in a better way than Nashville. And you see it every year with CMA Fest. We saw it with the draft. You see it with the Preds events that brought in. They're getting the draft again next year. It's this city will absolutely be getting those events. I will decline to share any sort of specifics, but we've already gotten reach outs from non-NFL events that are some of those events that you're thinking about, asking us about timing as they're setting their schedule into the future, because this is a city where those places want to be, and with a building that we believe is going to be one of the best buildings in the entire country, one of the most interesting, dynamic buildings in the country in this city, absolutely that's in the future of this city.
Do you foresee college football maybe even going up a notch? I know the Music City Bowl is usually a pretty good draw, and it's a good TV draw as well. But do you foresee college football? We see a lot of these games at the beginning of the season with the ability to have, I think you guys have committed to having a turf field at the new stadium. I'm not totally sure on that, so don't quote me on it. But do you foresee maybe Nashville elevating as a college football city? We know the TV ratings are there. We know the fan passion is there. We know kind of the centralization of the SEC is here. But do you foresee that with the new building?
Absolutely. Kickoff classics and getting into the playoff mix. This is going to be a venue coupled with this city that these events want to come, and we've already started to prove that out with the current stadium. The current stadium's aging and needs investment to get to another generation, but we've got a staff that is really focused on reaching out to some of the promoters in the concert world and other stadium events. We have connections in college football that we believe have the potential to open up some of these doors. They love Nashville. Bragging on the team at the stadium. They love this team. It's the team is just high quality, and they're really good to work with. which apparently I hear is not the case at every stadium. And so these events want to come to Nashville, and they want to come to play their biggest events here. And with a new building, with an enclosed building that allows these events to happen all year round, I think this is going to be an absolute game changer in terms of the event scene in Nashville.
How does the city benefit at a bigger level from that stuff? Because somebody told me, they said, okay, well, how many people in the city are going to really, truly go to the Super Bowl? And I was like, I don't know. Now, I know as a talk show host, if the Super Bowl's in my town, it's going to be great. But that's just for me. But for the average fan, how does that impact their lives? For the average Nashville citizen, how do these things impact their lives?
I wish I had 15 minutes to answer your question on the project as a whole, because a Super Bowl coming to town is just one small part of it.
Sure. And I would like, if I were the one making the rules and I were the one sitting down with Roger Goodell, I would say, this isn't you saying it, this is me saying it, I would like two. To kind of be in that rotation, because, if Phoenix gets it about once every 9 years or so, and Miami's in there, and New Orleans is in there, but, they're not going back to MetLife Stadium. They're not going back to Detroit. They're not going back to Minnesota. I'd like them to come back here. That's me, though.
So this is me?
Yeah.
This isn't the NFL? That would be the goal.
Sure.
I think the NFL draft it will not be topped by any other city. And we absolutely expect that same experience would happen with any event coming through, where during the middle of that event, the promoter is going to be looking at themselves thinking, how soon can we get back here, right? And in terms of answering your question about how a Super Bowl or any of these events would benefit the community at large,
sure.
I mean, certainly there's the economic impact. The average Super Bowl averages about a $500 million economic impact to the community. The hotels are all full, the restaurants are full, and there's this downstream jobs impact. There's construction projects in the months leading up to a Super Bowl or any of these big events. So there's a kind of a blast radius of community economic impact. These events, they are not just about the game. I mean, you saw this with the draft when they came to town. You didn't have to go downtown to the draft stage to participate. There were fan festivals. There were community impact events that the NFL brought to town with youth football and things like that. And every one of these events does the same thing. WWE was just in town this last year for SummerSlam, and they spent as much time doing community impact events in the days leading up to the event as the event itself. So the entire community benefits. On top of that, it just helps to spread awareness and enhance the reputation of the city and of the state. And so it's more likely that people will come here to visit and continue to keep those hotels and those restaurants and other things busy. This is a city that will be fun to show off through those events.
The mayor said yesterday on the program, Burke Nihill, Titans president with us, the mayor said yesterday he thinks he has the votes for the Metro Council. How does that make you feel?
That makes me feel great.
I do have one special request question for you. Said, what about the Titans Ring of Honor, and what are they going to do with Floyd's Wall? This is his show, so I do wonder about that, honoring the greats of the past, and of course, obviously someone that meant so much to us here.
I go back to it again, just paradigm shift, right? This is a blank canvas. So we've tossed around some ideas that I will decline to share here, but ways to make it much more special than the current wall. Amy wasn't satisfied at all with a Ring of Honor that was up on the top of the building. We brought it down to that wall. Mm-hmm. That was the option that was available in this current stadium. With a blank canvas, we think there's some really special opportunities to celebrate our greats.
How do you manage this? This is really the last one I have for you, Burke, which is making football decisions based upon a new stadium. Because if, let's just say, you guys draft the next John Elway, and let's say you draft him next year, and all of a sudden now you're selling PSLs and you've got the next John Elway in his prime, it's probably easier to sell PSLs than if you're a team that is struggling. But yet at the same time, is that something that you guys even think about or talk about, thinking about what would sell more with the football team, or do you guys stay completely out of that?
Yeah, not at all. Look, John Robinson is waking up every morning trying to build a Super Bowl team, and
Sure.
he's not thinking about where we're going to play in 26 or 27. So it is he does a very good job of that, by the way. So it's totally independent. And I would also say too, this stadium project, our focus, we have been looking at it as much more than a Titans thing, right? This is something that was something that just had to be resolved, and we have believed that there was a solution like this one that could deliver just an incredible result for the city and for its taxpayers and for the community at large. And it's just so much bigger than the Titans. So our focus on the stadium has gone far beyond football. And again, John is focused on building the roster independent of any sort of future stadium.
Well, you talked about helping my anxiety. If you guys could win on Sunday, that would probably go a long way towards that.
Let's do it.
There you go. Burke Nihill, President, CEO. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for coming on in. Thanks for doing this. And congratulations between you and the mayor and the city and the NFL and everybody else. And for your sake, we'll see how this continues along. Don't be a stranger. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yep, Burke Nihill joining us, team president, CEO. Stillman and Company, it is 5 o'clock, which means Joe Rexroad will argue. I don't know what we'll argue about, but we'll do that coming up next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Stuck at work without a radio?
Wait a minute. Disastrous.
I hate that.
It's got to be there.
That's okay. Download the Game Nashville app or go to thegamenashville.com and listen live. We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
How can a half-carat diamond magically grow into a 2-carat diamond? With Genesis Diamond's 110% diamond upgrade guarantee.
Our trade-up policy is the best in the United States.
That's Stasia at Genesis, explaining how if you buy a diamond today and want to trade it in for a bigger one next year, Genesis always gives you back your original purchase price plus an extra 10%.
We will gladly give you every single penny you paid for the diamond plus an extra 10%, which is amazing. No one does that.
As a real-life example, take Stasia's customer Paul.
When he first started, he got a half-carat, and then as he became more successful, we rewarded him. He came in and he got a 3/4 carat, and then he's traded for a carat. I'm sure I'll see him this year for a carat and a half. As they grow and change and become more successful, their engagement ring can grow with them also.
And there's no catch, no minimum trade-up requirement, and it works on diamond studs and diamond pendants as well.
You get every single investment dollar you put into the diamond, you will get an extra 10% towards the new diamond.
Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
You can trade as many times as you wish.
Continuously voted best jewelry store and best place to buy an engagement ring. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Join 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Nashville Predators Energy Team this Thursday, October 20th at Jasper's on West End for Nashville Predators versus Columbus Blue Jackets. Enjoy Jasper's Preds game day specials and enter for a chance to win game tickets. Go Preds!
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. You'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Results are guaranteed or your money back. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game. Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company. Oh, there we go.
Jared Stillman
we'll just do
versus Joe Rexroad. Now on Stillman and Company.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar, moving 102.5, 106.3. The game streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. I do want to say, before we get to Joe and Jared versus Joe, very informative, good stuff from Burke Nihill, team president and CEO. And again, and I'm not saying this about Burke, because I like Burke, but I've decided that when we started this process, I would take everything with a grain of salt. I would listen to everybody. I wouldn't get too excited one way or another. But it's hard to not get excited about a new football stadium. That's all I'll say. It's hard. As a football fan, it's hard to not get excited about a new football stadium.
And the festivals.
Yeah, those. But it's hard not to get excited. But I did appreciate that. Joe is with us for Jared versus Joe. Joe, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm fine. How is everyone?
We're doing super. Caroline, let's get right to it for Jared versus Joe.
Well, something was brought to my attention today in the text line, which completely blew up my plans for a Jared versus Joe. But my first question is this. Joe, I want you to go first. Talking about Tennessee's potential, how they could get in and how they could be left out of the CFP, feel free to add that in your response. But my question is, how important is brand in the college football playoff, and how could that affect who gets into the top four?
So if this is Gator Tim who keeps screaming at me, Gator, he's inaccurately, which of course Jared does a lot too, conveying my comments. Yeah, brand matters. Sure it does. But if brand was all important, then Cincinnati would not have gotten into the college football playoff last year. So does brand matter? Like, do I feel like in that room, is it spoken? No. Is it supposed to be spoken? No. And it's just like the NCAA tournament selection committee for basketball. You know, they're trying to be very granular in comparing these teams to each other. Do I believe that in the minds of these people, the hearts and minds, that brand matters? Sure I do. I believe that if you had very similar profiles in March, you know, I was going to say Duke. Well, sure, Duke could be on the bubble. Duke every once in a while is in that situation. You know, a Duke against like an Arizona State. And Arizona State might have a little bit better resume. I bet you a few of those people just put their vote in for Duke just because it's Duke. So do I think it matters? Yes. Is it overtly a characteristic that is supposed to be part of the process? Absolutely not.
I would say that it probably doesn't matter as much as it will get talked about, because a lot of these things with the college football playoff, generally speaking, work themselves out. It did matter in 2014 when Ohio State got in over Baylor and TCU. That was why. When subjectivity becomes the issue, then I believe that brand will matter. And I go back to the discussion we had earlier today. Trevor Maddich says that he thinks Michigan could get into the college football playoff over Tennessee. If Michigan loses to Ohio State, Tennessee loses to Georgia. But Tennessee's strength of schedule right now is 12. Michigan's is 87th. So if they end up putting Michigan in over Tennessee, and then they say, well, dominance of victory, or, again, something incredibly subjective, then I will tell you that brand matters. But it does feel that for the most part, there haven't been a lot of arguments at the end of the college football playoff discussion. There was the first year. That was a big deal. But for the most part, these things usually work themselves out. To Joe's point, there was a lot of discussion last year about Cincinnati and could Cincinnati get in? And yes, they had the win to Notre Dame, but they haven't beaten Tulsa and Navy by enough. So should Cincinnati be in? But it really worked its way out, and it wasn't controversial. I think if it becomes controversial and they start relying on subjective reasoning and a team gets in and another team has a gripe, then it matters. If not, if the four teams shake themselves out that way, like let's say Georgia wins out, Ohio State wins out, Clemson wins out, and TCU wins out, then it doesn't matter. An undefeated TCU is in and Michigan is out. And so for that, I think that Joe's right. But I would say that if we get to where we are deciding subjectivity, one loss Tennessee, one loss Michigan, one loss TCU, one loss USC, now it matters. And so what you read earlier about Joe not believing in Brand at all and what Joe said does not seem to align with what we were led to believe.
Yeah, so Gator Tim has been all over me during our show about how there's no way Tennessee will get in because it's, I don't even understand what he's trying to say. Like, they have to earn it over several years. It's like, no, they're evaluating teams within the year. Michigan was a brand name that was down for a long time, like Tennessee, and last year they earned their way in by beating Ohio State. I mean, it's way more simple than people want to make it.
Yeah, it's not something that's earned over time. Jared, you go first. Titans play the Colts this weekend, no matter the outcome. Titans win, Titans lose. What does that mean for the AFC South?
Well, I mean, I think it does. I think the outcome really does matter for the AFC South.
I'm saying, if the Titans win, if the Titans lose, in either scenario, what does that mean for the AFC South?
So, I mean, I think the Titans right now should be the favorites to win the division. I know that if they lose this game, they will technically be behind Indianapolis, and they will lose the tiebreaker, but the tiebreaker is not going to matter because Indianapolis tied a game earlier this year, so unless the Titans tie, the tiebreaker really doesn't matter that much. If they win, this isn't like last year when Indianapolis had lost so much on the front end that when the Titans played Indianapolis the second time and beat them, they were dead and gone. But I think it does give the Titans a commanding advantage. I mean, there's a big difference between 4-2-0 and 3-3-1. You know, at that point, you're talking about 2.5 games, and that's a big, big lead. I think it's also important to note that while Tennessee, by winning the AFC South last year, drew Green Bay on the road, and we all looked at that and said, whoa, the Titans going to Lambeau Field, what are they going to do? Right now, Indianapolis drew Minnesota, and we're in October, so this ain't September football anymore. This isn't a fluke. Right now, Minnesota's a better team than Green Bay. So I think that more so than anything, the Titans winning, it doesn't send a message. It doesn't kill Indianapolis. It doesn't do anything. But I do think that it does give the Titans more comfort if they win. If they lose, it means that it's probably going to be a war of attrition to the finish line between these two teams, which is incredibly disappointing because I don't think Indianapolis is very good.
Yeah, I think if the Titans win, then they're in a position of strength. Again, tons of football left and so many things that can go wrong, go right. I mean, in the Titans' case, just waiting for the next big injury to come along. But, I mean, that's a fair point. Like the Titans' schedule, I still think going to Lambeau on a Thursday night is a challenging game, and the Packers could have some things figured out by then. But it's true. I mean, the Vikings game looks tougher. And the Broncos game that I circled on the Titans' schedule before the year, I mean, at that point, that could be one of the easiest games, remaining on the schedule. And also the Colts, by the way, one of the easiest games I thought on the Titans' schedule, which they still should have won, but they didn't. Well, the Colts have to go to play the New York Giants on the road. So I think it means more in terms of tilting toward the outcome of the race if the Titans win. If the Titans win and have that sweep, that's pretty commanding. If the Colts win, then I think it's going down to the end, but I'm still not sure that I would pick the Colts to win the division.
How about this? According to the FanDuel Sportsbook app, Indianapolis is still the favorite at plus 120 to win the South. The Titans are plus 160, Jacksonville plus 390, and Houston plus 2,900. Does feel like Jacksonville has kind of faded back into being Jacksonville. But, I mean, I just think that last year Indianapolis dug themselves such a deep hole to start the season that with the Titans winning 2 games and commanding the tiebreaker, it was basically I want to say the Titans, after they beat the Colts the second time, were minus 800 the next day to win the division. Derrick Henry broke his foot that day too, and it still didn't affect it. It was still minus 800. I'm guessing if the Titans win, they'll become the favorites to win the division, but they won't be commanding favorites. And I mean, I really just don't think Indianapolis is very good. I mean, in fact, I was thinking about this after I'd answered the question. When you say, what does it say about the South? If the Titans lose this game, then it tells me that the 28th ranked total defense and the 31st total ranked offense is a real freaking problem with this football team. I don't think they're going to lose to the Colts, but it's hard for me to sit here and look at the league, and I think the league stinks, and I think the AFC stinks. and I see Buffalo and then everybody else. The Chargers are 4-2, and the Chargers suck, and they're 4-2. And that's the third or second best team in the AFC. And if the Titans win, they're 4-2. And I feel like the Titans could beat the Chargers. And yet at the same time, I'm like, man, I'm defending the 28th ranked defense and the 31st ranked offense. So to answer your question, if the Titans lose this game, then we got to think about, do the Titans suck? Because the stats say the Titans suck. Your thoughts, Joe?
It's the Bills, Chiefs, and everyone else right now. I can't find. I still believe the Ravens should be better than this, and maybe they will. But right now, it's a mess other than those two that we just saw play.
And I don't even love the Chiefs right now. The Bills, yes. Jared versus Joe. We continue next right here. And I believe that the name Jerry Stackhouse will be coming up at some point here on Jared versus Joe. The pro Jerry media right there, Joe Rexroth. Let me tell you about Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. They are proud supporters of the Vanderbilt Commodores and the Tennessee Volunteers and the Nashville Predators. Fall means cooler weather is coming, so make sure your family is warm in your home with this special deal from Hiller. This month, take advantage of Hiller's Happy HVAC Comfort Bundle, which includes an HVAC replacement, a germicidal UV light, an extended 10-year warranty, and you'll get a free Solo smokeless stove. Or get a free Solo stove with a new whole home generator or whole home water filtration and descaler. Plus, Hiller is offering 0 interest for up to 12 months on these purchases. Hiller's work is backed by the Happy You'll Be Your Services free guarantee, and I know this because I use Hiller at my home. I love Hiller. Proud supporters of the Preds, the Vols, and Vandy. Hiller, call the Happy Face truck today.
Every Wednesday at noon.
No matter the down and distance and no matter the score, they're going to give him the football.
Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton joins Chase, Willie, and D-Mace to talk all things Titans and NFL.
I hope that they're not throwing flags simply because the league wants to see more of them.
He's got opinions and insights on the two-tone blue.
They are not as good at wide receiver and the playmaking department.
Catch Hutton every Wednesday at noon. Presented by Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars and by Edley's Barbecue on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Black Friday deals are here earlier than ever at Electronic Express. Come into our convenient locations for great deals on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, Whirlpool, Bose, Breville, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department: computers, appliances, 4K TVs, housewares, furniture, mattresses, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Hey, it's Hutton. Guys, do you need an annual health exam? I recommend going to Low T Center to get your complete health assessment. They will check all of your levels, not just your T level. In most cases, it's completely covered by your health insurance. And if you don't have insurance, it's less than $100 for a full lab panel and an office visit with their medical provider to give you a complete health assessment. Low T Center specializes in men's health, making it quick and easy, even verifying your insurance. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
312 Pizza Company is Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria, and they're now hiring. Work for a family-owned business and be a part of their incredible team. 312 Pizza Company is hiring for all positions, including host, waitstaff, bartenders, cooks, and more. 312 Pizza Company offers health insurance and pay time off to full-time employees. Contact Kimberly at 615-730-7888 or email at contact@312pizzaco.com. 312 is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe, and every season is screwball season in my house. No matter the time of year, that rich, smooth taste just hits the spot. Y'all know Screwball. It's made with real whiskey, peanuts, and peanut butter, and it's just flat out delicious. It's my favorite. However you take it, as a shot, in an espresso martini, or a peanut butter old-fashioned, make it a Screwball peanut butter whiskey. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2022 Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Hey, folks, Joe Rexroth here. Listen, to do the job I do, I got to stay on the move, and sometimes that can catch up to me. Even when it does, I always enjoy natural and enjoyable ways to de-stress my mind and body, and that's why I use the high-quality and wide selection of THC and CBD products from OrderGreen.com. OrderGreen.com is the nation's #1 online shop for all things cannabis, and man, I'm in Tennessee, but it makes me feel like I'm in Colorado, and they can be delivered right to your doorstep. Save 25% now on every shipment of gummies with a subscription. That's ordergreen.com. Subscribe to save 25% on gummies.
We gather together in communities across the nation to remember and honor, to celebrate and support, to light the night. We are LLS, and when we walk, cancer runs. Find your local event at lightthenight.org.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app. Jared Stillman versus Joe Rexrode. Now on Stillman and Company.
On ESPN
102.5 The Game.
More Jared versus Joe on the program. Hey, be sure to join Big Joe Dubin and Elijah Campbell this Friday for the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz. Presented by the National Playmakers Academy from 6 to midnight. They'll preview the big games and then take you through the night of high school football around the Mid-State. It's the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz presented by National Playmakers Academy on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Joe Rexrode is with us for Jared versus Joe. Caroline, go ahead.
Got some shocking news last night when Jerry Stackhouse, it was announced that he had a contract extension with Vanderbilt. In his first 3 seasons, he's 13-39 in SEC play. So my question to you both, Joe, you go first, is why?
Who's going first?
Joe.
Go ahead, Joe.
Oh, sorry. I had myself muted. Yeah, I don't know why. I really don't. I do know that Vanderbilt has done other extensions since I've lived around here and has not made a press release out of it, kind of quietly extended people. So I'm assuming this was, put out there as a recruiting thing. This is what happens in college sports. I don't know how long the extension is for. Again, as I said on the show this morning when Jared lost it, I don't think it's necessary. But if you want to get into it, we could go back if you want on the whole Stackhouse and the job he's done.
Which has been terrible.
Okay, well, that's fine. You are welcome to believe that. And Caroline mentioned his record. Last year he went 19-17 with Vanderbilt. His first team, he inherited an 0-18 team. His first 2 teams won 6 SEC games combined. They won 20 games combined, his first 2 teams, inheriting an 0-18 team. And not just an 0-18 team, a complete disaster of a program. In Breister's last year, the whole thing was a mess. So in his 3rd year, he more than doubled his first 2 years of SEC wins and got 7, went 7-11. They went 19-17 overall. They got to the quarterfinals of the NIT, lost a 2-point game to Xavier in the NIT quarters. They had a really good win over Alabama in the SEC tournament, almost beat Kentucky in the SEC tournament. They were an NCAA caliber team at the end of the year when they had Liam Robbins, who, of course, missed the first more than half a year with a broken foot, with a stress fracture. Look, they were an NCAA tournament caliber team by the end of the year. Now,
according to
question
who?
On him, well, Jared, according to what they did, according to
because they
their
almost beat
achievement.
Kentucky in the SEC tournament, but they didn't beat Kentucky. But because they almost beat Kentucky, who lost to St. Peter's in the first round of the tournament, they were almost they were a caliber team. Almost
St.
won.
Peter's. Oh, yeah, that's good. St. Peter's is going to be your argument. That's so hilarious. Here's what they did, Jared. They went to Arkansas and won that game. They beat
was like
ranked
January
LSU
8th.
team. Okay, they beat Texas A&M. They went to Ole Miss at the end. They beat Alabama, which is an NCAA tournament team. They were a NCAA tournament caliber team at the end. The way they were playing basketball. Is there subjectivity there? Yes. They beat Belmont. They also beat number 1
That's
seed in
because
NCAA
you are Joe. You are the pro Jerry media in this town. You are the one guy that believes this guy can coach basketball, even though I'm
not at all.
There is no proof that this man can coach basketball. I mean, the thing that bothers me about Jerry Stackhouse is this. is that Jerry Stackhouse did nothing to earn this job other than the fact that Malcolm Turner, who was athletic director for all of 5 minutes, hired his G League minor league basketball buddy, and he brings in Jerry Stackhouse, who has done nothing to get anybody to become Vanderbilt fans in this city where, honestly, as passionate as I get about this, I honestly am worried that people are clicking off the radios because we're not talking about the Titans or the Vols or the Predators or something that they care about because we're talking about Jerry Stackhouse and Vandy basketball, and that's how unimportant it is. The fact that Vanderbilt could extend such a bad coach, a career record in the SEC at 13-39. That is 25%. The fact that they could extend this coach and nobody in town truly cares. I know that I care more about this just with the audacity that Vanderbilt had to act like this guy isn't a bad coach and how embarrassing that is for the 15-year-old me that loved Vanderbilt that used to go when people actually went to these games. Like the fact that they had the audacity to do that and pretend that this guy has done anything as their coach and they've given him an extension is an embarrassment to the sports fans of this town. And not only that, this is a sports town where you have to do something. I mean, Ryan Tannehill has taken the Titans to the playoffs 3 years in a row, and that's not good enough. The Predators have been to the playoffs 8, asterisk with that bubble year in there, 8 years in a row. And that's not good enough around here. And we're going to say Jerry Stackhouse because he got to the NIT and finished 11th, his best finish as a coach. We're going to say that that's good enough? That's good enough for an extension?
Who said that?
You.
Who said that?
You said it's good enough for an extension because they were an NCAA tournament caliber team, whatever the hell that means, even though they didn't make it and weren't on the bubble.
Hey, shut up and stop slobbering all over your microphone. I did not say that at all. So if you're going to start screaming, have your facts straight. I did not say that at all. I said it was unnecessary. I don't know why they did it. But if you want to talk about the job he's done,
it's been bad.
They made progress? They have. Okay, fine. Have they made progress? Yes, they have. Does he have the best recruiting class they've had in a while at Vanderbilt other than the Darius Garland year where they went 0-18? Yes, he does. Does that mean he's going to start making NCAA tournaments? I don't know. He needs to. And I don't know how it's going to be without Scottie Pippen Jr. That's going to be a huge question. I don't think he's done some incredible, amazing job.
And he wasted Scottie Pippen Jr.
Okay.
Well, that's bad. Is it not bad, Joe? Is it not? Is it not bad, Joe? Has Jerry Stackhouse's tenure been a good tenure as a coach?
No, I would not call it a good tenure as a coach.
Would you?
I would say that he has.
Have given him a contract extension.
Hey, let me talk. No, there's no need to give an extension. Has he improved Vanderbilt? Yes. Did he inherit a disaster? Yes. Is he good enough? Because at Vanderbilt, you should be going to NCAA tournaments on a pretty regular basis. I don't know. But you, of course, are going to let me find the numbers. Let me go into an area where I can make it sound as bad as possible rather than actually looking at all of the facts present with Jerry Stackhouse's tenure, which is fine. That's par for the course with you.
I mean, I will say this. As much as we can crap on Bryce Drew, and he did go 0-18 his last year at Vanderbilt, he had made the NCAA tournament his first year at Vanderbilt. He recruited a star player who is an NBA All-Star and just signed a max deal, and the guy got hurt. Now, we can say that's an excuse or not an excuse or whatever, but Bryce Drew, including his 0-18 season, won 30% of his games in the SEC. Jerry Stackhouse has won 25. So we're talking about how bad it was that Jerry inherited this mess. He's won 25. Bryce has won 30. If Bryce Drew was such a bad coach, how the hell did he get Grand Canyon to the NCAA tournament? Grand Canyon. So since Jerry has been losing, Bryce Drew, the guy you say, oh, he was so bad. I mean, he got to the NCAA tournament. How?
I thought Bryce Drew was a fine coach until he did not handle that year well. It was he hopefully learned from that as a coach. I don't think he's hopeless as a coach, but he let it become a disaster. And Simi Shitu and all the things that went into that season, I was at a lot of those games. It was very bad. He let it become a disaster. But let's remember that Bryce Drew, Jared, inherited a program that had been quite good under Kevin Stallings, inherited a good team, inherited a guy named Luke Cornett, who was the real sole reason they made the NCAA tournament and had a winning record his first year as a coach. They went straight down and steadily downward in his 3 years. Jerry Stackhouse has taken it from there and has gone in the other direction. I don't know where it's going to go from here, but Bryce Drew inherited a totally different situation than Jerry Stackhouse inherited.
And yet, Bryce Drew got fired, and Jerry, who keeps losing, doesn't. He gets an extension. As Derrick Henry would call it. As Derrick Henry would call it, he would say it's a promotion. Jerry Stackhouse got a promotion.
Third year.
I mean, I can't believe Candace Lee.
Let's compare year 3. Let's compare year 3. 0-18 disaster to 19 and 17 NIT quarterfinals. NIT quarterfinals isn't good enough.
NA.
Great. Well, let's compare the two.
You know
let's
what?
Compare the two. That's the third season for both coaches.
Hey, and you
NIT really is the losers tournament.
And
if
you,
we're going to be completely
right.
honest.
Is it better than 0-18?
You and
my
old
calculator.
Yes, you're right, Joe. Yes, you are right.
My 60-year-old neighbors that I used to live next to, who go to every Vanderbilt game, they and Joe tuned in for the NIT. So they might. I'll ask them if they're on board with Jerry. I do remember my neighbors when Bryce Drew was the coach. I remember, and I love my neighbors, but I was asked after the SEC tournament when they lost that game. She goes, "Did you read Rex Rod's column in the paper this morning?"
Rex Rod.
I was like, I don't need to read it. I don't. But I do have in front of me my Jerry Stackhouse article. If I need to find reasons to believe in Jerry Stackhouse, I have the Athletic article. Vanderbilt's Jerry Stackhouse is up for a fight, but can he win it? Joe Rexrode.
It's all positivity. It's all positivity.
8,000 words from Joe Rexrode
job.
about why Jerry Stackhouse is such a great coach.
Basically, a big love letter to him.
Let me ask you a question, Joe. If you were Vanderbilt, would you have fired Jerry Stackhouse after last year?
Oh, hell no.
Okay, that's all I needed to hear.
So stupid.
That's all I needed to hear.
Well, Jerry, think about how stupid that would be. He has a really good class coming in this fall, and he went 19 and 17 with a team that was ravaged by injuries. Not at all would I have fired him. I don't think an extension is necessary, but no. Just ridiculous, man. And most people in town would agree with me, Jared.
No, most people in town would have no opinion because they don't care about Vandy, and they don't pay attention to Vandy. And unlike you, I've lived here when Vandy mattered in Nashville, and it's time for Vandy to matter again.
Okay.
And this coach is never going to get them to matter.
20 minutes on this argument. You just made this 20 minutes of Stackhouse, so congratulations.
And you know what? I'm disappointed in myself for that.
But
Caroline?
Before we get to the winner, I do need Joe's assistance because, Jared continues to double down on the fact that $300 million wouldn't do anything and isn't anything and means nothing.
Your Vandy United fund, Joe.
Yeah, they're building these buildings. I think that they'll probably help some.
I understand that.
I don't know what to tell you.
I understand that Joe is not for a Stackhouse extension, but one thing that I heard Joe say this morning, Ann and Jared versus Joe, is this was a recruiting tactic. Vanderbilt, per On3, currently has the 62nd best recruiting class in the country, behind Cal State Fullerton and Butler and St. Joseph's. So I cannot get on board with the fact that Jerry Stackhouse is some sort of recruiting tool. So Jared wins this week.
Yes! And
well, I'm glad Jared won.
And speaking of great recruiting, who recruited Scottie Pippen Jr.?
Yeah, I'm glad Jared won, but just to be clear, it's a top 25 class on campus now.
The answer is Bryce Drew.
So maybe they're missing on some kids who they felt they needed help. That's just me speculating on whether it's helping recruiting. That's usually why extensions happen. I have no idea, but I'm so happy for you, Jared. Good job, buddy.
Joe is the only Tennessee homer who absolutely loves Jerry Stackhouse.
I know.
I think that's why Joe likes Jerry Stackhouse so much, because he's a Tennessee fan, and so he wants Jerry Stackhouse to stay there.
Now that
I have figured it out.
Now that's something.
I have figured it out. Oh my God! Yes,
you've cracked the code.
Talk to you tomorrow morning, Joe.
Good job. All right.
Joe
Thanks, Joe.
Rexrode joining us on the program. Joe gets really mad because I called him the Pro Jerry Media one time. And so yesterday when this came out and I was texting back and forth with Joe, I actually searched in my iPhone the Pro Jerry Media thing, because it's not like that's something that gets talked about a lot. And it was the day that what happened was, I don't think you were here yet, but Joe had done this long-form fluff piece on Jerry Stackhouse, and in it, Jerry Stackhouse had this random off-the-wall quote about Donald Trump.
Oh,
and
what?
Clay Travis got a hold of that and made a big deal about it. And so this became some huge deal. Jerry basically said that Joe took his words out of context. Joe had to publish the whole Q&A transcribed or whatever.
Oh my! This was before I was here.
This was some tea.
Freaking mess.
And so Joe was still defending Jerry Stackhouse, even though Jerry Stackhouse was essentially calling Joe a liar. And I called Joe the Pro Jerry Media, and he got mad.
I'm sure he did get mad at you.
But it was fun to
That's
reminisce.
That's not a very nice thing to say.
It was fun to reminisce reading that or whatever. But anywho, Caroline, by the way, had the best line yesterday when she said that the only thing that Jerry Stackhouse has done is block people on Twitter and waste Scottie Pippen Jr.'s
That's
career.
all he said. That's all he has to show for himself.
I would congratulate him on his new contract, but I can't tweet him because he blocked me.
I wonder if I'm blocked. Let's check.
FanDuel Sportsbook. Those are my guys. 615-737-1025. We'll get to your phones. We'll react to this. We'll talk about Burke Nihill earlier. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Tip off the Grizzlies season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers get $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just use the promo code JGM at sign up. Plus, all customers get 3 months of NBA League Pass when they make a $5 bet on the NBA, courtesy of FanDuel. Then you can watch all the action as you bet on everything from money line to point spreads to totals. And best of all, you get your winnings paid instantly. So don't miss your chance to get $150 in free bets plus 3 months of NBA League Pass with the promo code JGM and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the Memphis Grizzlies. 21 and older and present. Tennessee new customers first online real money wager, only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Existing customers, $5 NBA wager required. Limit 1 pass per customer across both offers. Restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See full terms for both offers at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. NBA League Pass. Local blackout restrictions apply.
ESPN Titans NFL Nation reporter Teron Davenport brings knowledge.
3 touchdowns. He was processing, getting rid of the ball quickly.
Passion.
Make no mistake about it. He absolutely has to hit the ground running.
And expertise on the two-tone blue and the NFL. Join TD every Monday at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Friday morning at 8 for all the latest on your favorite team. Teron Davenport is presented by Craneworks on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hi guys, it's Andrew. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is now available, and it isn't a pill? Today, Wednesday, October 19th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain that spark in the bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. Also, a gift that can produce rapid results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that, guys, trust me. And today only, we're offering 5 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is unprecedented, worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today. 615-576-5000.
Can you beat Vegas this football season? Hey, it's Chase McCabe for Superbook Sports. Superbook gives you the chance every week to go head-to-head with the best odds makers in Las Vegas. No fancy computer algorithms, no guys across the pond setting lines for American sports, just the best team of odds makers in the business behind the counter at the Superbook in Las Vegas. Plus, Superbook features some of the best odds boosts and promo bets anywhere. So download the Superbook Sports app or visit superbook.com and start your battle against Vegas right now. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have, credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormonal deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve your quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? If your check engine light is on, it may be affecting your MPGs, but the free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help. With the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes, you'll know what's affecting your gas mileage and more, and you don't have to drive too far to find the fix. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service is available at all 6,200 stores.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
See details at AutoZone.com.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Vanderbilt football head coach Clark Lee. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What are they doing?
Well, I think what they're doing is probably related to recruiting, but yeah, I mean, I don't think it's necessary.
What recruit is worried about the Jerry Stackhouse contract?
Well, again, listen, NFL guy, this is college sports, whether you like it or not. And what they do is they keep these extensions because other coaches say, "Oh, that deal's getting light," and
he had 3 years left on his deal.
That's my understanding.
Oh my gosh!
Now again, what's the extension for? I don't know, but look. I don't think it's necessary. I also think people that are like, "Oh, he'd never been in the NCAA tournament," also probably don't have proper context on what he inherited, but.
The only commentator in Nashville, and let me say this, I am worried that talking about Joe Rexrode's pro-Jerry Stackhouse agenda is bad for the radio. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com.
It is not a pro-Jerry Stackhouse agenda.
It is a pro-Jerry Stackhouse agenda. Read the 9,000-word article Joe wrote in 2021 on Jerry Stackhouse, and tomorrow, that's a homework assignment for this program for everybody, to read the 9,000-word, 10,000-word Joe Rexrode article on Jerry Stackhouse.
I'll tell you what, I probably am not going to do that, but I think the problem is it's not an anti-Stackhouse agenda, and that's the problem.
But I'm afraid that talking about it will lose us listeners. I really am. Caroline says the text line has people saying if we keep talking about Jerry Stackhouse, they're going to tune out.
Yeah, one says, you are going to lose listeners if you keep talking about Stackhouse and Vandy.
It's just the absurdity of it that drives me crazy. Like, maybe it is, like, the anger of the 15-year-old me that truly loved Vandy. Truly loved him. Like, and I just know, like, Vandy, man, like, oh, it's so bad.
Another texter says Jerry freaking Stackhouse. That's
Jerry
it.
Stackhouse. What
Jerry
a-
freaking Stackhouse.
I used to be able to talk, we used to be able to talk Vandy on the radio. We really were. Now it's more so just the absurdity of Joe's take. If Joe was like, yeah, I think it's ridiculous too, then there'd be it would not have come up today.
Well, Joe doesn't necessarily agree with it. He just doesn't think that it's ridiculous. I personally think that it is ridiculous, and you cannot find any sort of justification for it for me.
I love Clark Lee, the football coach there. I think he's a great man. I don't know if he'll be able to turn it around because it's Vandy. I don't know if there's anything Vandy football could do short of beating Tennessee that would get us to talk about him on the radio, because it's fallen so far down, and
and it's just getting more difficult.
Steven is up next here on the program. Thank you for calling. What's up, Steven? Steven!
Yes.
Go. Talk. What's your take?
I mean, you wanted Kevin Stallings fired, right?
I did so badly.
Like, you were a Kevin Stallings hater.
I was.
So now we got Jerry.
And still am.
So, I mean, Bryce Drew was awful. He could not play any defense. And I had my seats, 2L. So,
Steven, how old are you?
And what do you want Jerry to do? He's trying to do it, dude.
No, okay.
What do you want him to do?
I want to pay him when he does it. Thank you for your call. He's trying to do it. So is everybody else.
And that's the thing, too, is he had 3 years left on his contract. That is not an amount of contract that is left that you give a new contract. Let him prove it to you that he can do it and will do it. I understand he's trying. Every coach in America's trying to win games.
And I don't think he's really trying that hard.
Well, I'm not going to accuse him of that.
I will accuse him of that.
I don't think that's fair.
He has a reputation that is included in the Joe Rexrode long-form piece about not being 100% invested in recruiting. Again, I don't know, the recruiting circles in basketball like that, like I used to when I was in Louisville and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Nor do I really care that much. But I do know that that's been a knock on him. I mean, where do you see Jerry Stackhouse around town trying to promote Vandy basketball?
I have not seen him.
It doesn't exist.
But to be fair, I have not seen Clark Lee around town promoting
Clark Lee
football.
Clark Lee will go on any radio, anytime. He goes on the midday show once a week. He goes on the morning show once a week.
That is true. He does.
Clark Lee will bend over backwards to promote Vandy football. I'll put it to you like this. I've never had Clark Lee on the air because I just don't think that it drives the bus, right? Like, I just don't think it
I talked to him at media days.
I don't think it matters enough. I consider Clark Lee a friend. I think he's a good man. I think he's a good coach. I text Clark Lee when things come across. When Jimmy Williams passed away, I texted Clark Lee about it. We were texting back and forth. When they beat Northern Illinois, I texted Clark Lee. I love Clark Lee. And I will, tell people, positive, how I feel about Clark. And I think he's a good man, and I think he's a good coach. And I'll believe that because, I think just the kind of guy he's trying to do something there. I don't get the same vibe from Stackhouse. But then again, they extended him, so he must be doing something right. This idea that, like, Bryce Drew was Ken Wisenhunt is ridiculous. He recruited Darius Garland, and Darius Garland got hurt. Darius Garland will be the greatest pro basketball player in the history of Vanderbilt University. It was a one and done from the jump. Everybody knew it. Darius Garland got hurt. Just like if a team recruited Peyton Manning and Peyton Manning got hurt. That's what happened. And so now for it to be like, oh, Bryce Drew was so bad. Yeah, well, he's gone to the NCAA tournament taking over for a school. I believe they fired Thunder Dan Marley at Grand Canyon, hired Bryce Drew, and he won his conference tournament and took Grand Canyon to the NCAA tournament. So he must be doing something right. That's just my, to the caller and everything else. But that's too much Vandy. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. There is one story that I have yet to be mad at Mike Vrabel about that I need to be mad at Mike Vrabel about. So we'll do that. TriStar Moving, my official movers. I love TriStar Moving. I don't know anybody who gets excited about moving because it is stressful. It takes a ton of time and it is not fun. However, when I found my friends at TriStar Moving, they made my outlook on moving so much better because they made my move absolutely stress-free. TriStar Moving has an amazing sales staff to go along with their management team. You can be assured your movers are carefully picked and highly trained. They've recently introduced their new utility vans to help with pack jobs and to separate your high-value or fragile items from the furniture that you've got. Make sure your move is as safe and smooth as possible. No one is doing this. TriStar is. They're guys, Garrett and Robert, local Nashville guys. They love serving the Middle Tennessee community. They're my guys. It's a family feeling with TriStar Moving. Give them a call, 615-640-1219, or visit their website at nashvillemoving.org/radio, where they'll give you 10% off your entire move. That's TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, nashvillemoving.org/radio. Tell them Jared Stillman sent you for 10% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
Want the latest on college football and Nashville sports?
He looks like 1,000 quarterbacks I've seen in a college game.
Join Outkick 360's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and Company.
The coaching staff kept him and got rid of the other guys.
He'll bring opinions and charisma for a full half hour every week.
If he's so great in the locker room, then give him a coaching gig.
Chad Withrow is presented by Two Rivers Ford. Custom order your new Ford from Two Rivers Ford on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Another freeze warning in effect as we head into the overnight. Temperatures will drop back to around 34 degrees in Nashville. Looking at highs to top off in the 60s for Thursday with mainly sunny skies. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Football and Fireball is a match made in heaven. And by heaven, of course, we mean Twin Peaks. Spice things up next game day with a shot of our favorite cinnamon whiskey. Twin Peaks in Cool Springs, made from scratch food, signature 29-degree draft beers, and all the scenic views.
In a world where human interaction seems to be reduced to chats and clicks and emails, where transactions are measured only by speed, where corporate policies overrule common sense, sometimes you just want to go old school. Welcome to Genesis Diamonds, a refreshing experience where personal relationships and authentic interaction are the norm, not the exception. At Genesis, you're here celebrating something awesome in your life, and we want to know all about it. We want to hear your story, listen to your requests, and be a meaningful part of whatever occasion this is. A proposal, an anniversary, a birthday, graduation, push gift, sweet 16. If it's important to you, it's important to us. So we don't care how long it takes. We're not paid on commission, and we're not beholden to some corporate rule book. We just want to help you get what you want to make it into a special memory. So take a break from modern shopping and go old school with us at Genesis. Let's start a real relationship that you can count on for life. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs.
Robbie Stanley.
They get a lead in that game and just totally close the door.
Joe Rexrode.
If he plays next year, it's disastrous.
Robbie and Rexrode. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Much was made of your response, I guess, to the officiating committee. Was that report accurate? And if so, I guess why reply all to the message that you got there?
Well, first I would say that, obviously I wasn't contacted by anybody that put the report out. That'd be the first thing I'd say. The second thing is I just, it only goes to head coaches and general managers, so apparently there's people there that want to put things out to people for a purpose. I don't know. I never understood that. The reply all, you guys know me. I'm not hiding behind anything. We all get together, we meet, we sit in a ballroom. Apparently you got email now, it's reply all. It's like me standing up, or any other coach or any general manager or anybody that wanted to say something in a meeting I felt the need to say it and address it. It's important. You know, coaching, and playing, and officiating all make up our game. Players more so than anybody. And, you know, we spent a lot of time on this in the off season. And the only other job that's harder than playing is officiating. So just trying to make my point or say my piece.
Mike Vrabel got his hand caught in a cookie jar, and we haven't been able to talk about this week because of the Vols and the stadium, and then Joe Rexro got me all triggered about Jerry Stackhouse. But I do want to talk about this. You heard right there, the report was that Vrabel sent a reply-all email to the NFL talking about officiating, saying, I appreciate the time and energy that go into these videos, where they send the videos to the teams to tell them how to coach, you know, for the officials. But I suggest we devote every minute of our officiating department's time to ensuring our officiating crews are as well trained in the clarifications we work to create in the offseason, and that each crew is as consistent as possible. Thank you. And you heard
it's so
right
sassy. It has sassy undertones.
So if I was John Robinson, I'd be pretty mad at Mike Vrabel. If I was one of the leaders on that team, I'd be pretty mad at Mike Vrabel. And I'll be honest with you that I'm pretty mad at Mike Vrabel.
Why?
Because Mike Vrabel coaches don't do dumb stuff to hurt the team. And Vrabel knows he got caught, because when he talked about that, when asked by John Glennon, he said, well, nobody contacted me about the report. Well, they don't have to, Mike, because it says from Mike Vrabel on the email. Secondly, he said, you know, that only goes to coaches and general managers. So I don't know why some coach decided to, or general manager, somebody, you know,
Don't make that about them, Mike.
I'll tell you why they did it. I bet it probably came from Indianapolis. I'll tell you exactly why they did it. Because it's going to piss the officials off.
But it's not about who leaked it.
No, but that's what, like, he's clearly mad about that.
I know.
He shouldn't be mad about that.
be.
He shouldn't have said it. But the reality is that it's not going to make the officials happy that here's Mike Vrabel critiquing them public or privately, which is even worse. It's worse when you get caught talking about somebody behind their back than it is when you say it to their face, even though they may get mad at you to their face. It's another thing when you say it behind their backs and they find out about it. And so I'm sure, and I'm not going to say it was Indy that did it, but it would make the most sense since they're the next team that plays the Titans, that they're trying to sour the officials with the coach. And that very much could be a part of it. We don't need that music. Thank you. It could be very much a part of it. And he preaches, don't do dumb stuff to hurt the team. And here I am to say, don't do dumb stuff to hurt the team. His sassiness, his selfishness, him being a smart Alec, that's exactly what led to that. Edley's Barbecue. Let me tell you about Edley's Barbecue. That's right. I love Edley's Barbecue. It is fantastic. They are my go-to. If you're tailgating, you got to get with my friends at Edley's Barbecue. Hand off the tailgate prep to Edley's. Get your smoked wings in easy 25 and 50 count platters. Easily take smoked pulled pork, brisket, turkey, and scratch-made sides family style. Edley is perfect for game day at home or at the stadium. Call your neighborhood Edley's or order online. I love Edley's, especially the wings. Order online, edleysbbq.com. That's edleysbbq.com, voted Nashville's best barbecue 4 years in a row. Edley's Barbecue is a